Morning. Good morning. We're starting where we get to see your beautiful faces as opposed to showing the conference banner. I'm like, then I can't see everyone. I need to see everyone. Hi. So exciting. I was just telling Julie how happy I am today that I don't have to talk very much, that I still, after 18 years, have utter panic whenever I have to talk because I am innately the shyest human being ever and I can't stand it. And so today I feel like I'm going to a party. Instead of having to talk, I get to like enjoy all of you. So yay. And I wanted to see everyone's face. I hope, hi, all my good friends. Oh God, I miss you all. I wish we were like hanging out and, enjoying each other's company in person, but hopefully soon. So I hope everyone enjoyed yesterday. It was so fun seeing a lot of you. And this today is going to be chock full of exciting information. And, Corey put in the chat box that it was sort of rushed yesterday in certain ways in terms of the questions, especially for people like Violet and Maria. And if there's any questions that were not answered, please email Corey and let her know. And then we're going to send a follow-up email with all of with the survey. We'd love to hear what you guys liked and what you need more of. And also, we will send a link for the recording. So if you missed pieces of it, and then for those of you who want the slides, I know a lot of folks would love to have the slides. I know I was taking tons of pictures and probably you guys were too. So we can send out a copy of the slides. Anything else, Corey, any other housekeeping that I missed? I think those are the main things.
I think if you have it, just send any questions during the presentation, just send it directly to me in the chat. And then that way I'll do my best to get them all answered by the presenter.
And then I think in terms of the networking at the end, what we kind of we didn't give a whole lot of guidance, but I think what people were doing, which would be helpful, is the whole idea for the networking is for each of you to kind of get to know the others and just sort of say who you are, where you are, and what your business is, so that everyone's kind of more familiar, like, oh my God, who can I network with? And like putting a face to the name. So that's the idea. And we'll try and I know we only had time for 2 sessions. That might be the case again, but we'll at least have those 2 sessions, if not 3. We are going to begin in a second. Let me just sort of see if, oh, hi, Treya. Oh, look at this, page 2, Beth, Treya, let's see. Who do I know? Louie, Jill, oh my God, so fun. Deborah, let's see, Kelly. Well, anyway, hi to everyone. And I will be having a tea pretending that we're hanging out together this morning. So it's with great honor that I am going to be able to, whoops, sorry, hold on one second. With great honor, I want to bring back Julie Ferman, my buddy MC for now, how many years? 15 years and
100.
Counting, that loves the work.
100 years.
I was teasing her that she was born with a microphone in her hand, so she thrives with this. So thank you so much for your energy and for your support. Let me, Ricardo, you can pop up Julie's slide now so she can begin. Good morning, everyone. Here we go, day 2.
So happy to be here. So many new faces that I haven't seen before, and I'm just thrilled to see that literally the whole world is represented in this conference. For those of you who don't know me, I am Julie Ferman. I'm a product of the dating industry. I started looking for my guy when I was 3 years old, literally the end of my driveway on my little blue tricycle, all dolled up. because he was coming. I knew he was coming. He was going to be on a white horse, and it was going to be that easy. And as many of you have discovered in living your own lives, finding love, finding relationship, finding partnership, marriage, finding a way to bring babies into the world, it's not as easy as our fantasies. So bottom line, I tried everything to meet the right guy. And what worked for me was hiring my dating coach, who helped me understand all the things I was doing wrong. And there were a lot of them. And then we developed an action plan, a strategic action plan. He called it my romance marketing plan. He was from Colombia, South America, and he was so much fun. And now, interestingly, he's one of my coaching clients. How bizarre is it? Anyway, I stumbled into a Great Expectations video dating service back in 1990. I was 29.9 years old with half of one ovary left after surgery. And this is a girl who wanted marriage and family big time. So there was nothing there back then. All we had was the personal ads. And I was sitting in an Ethiopian restaurant all by myself in St. Louis on the Del Mar Loop, crying in my beer because I didn't want to have to do personal ads again. And I saw 3 ads for dating services, ripped the page out of the newspaper. I ran home. I called all 3. The one I chose was the video dating service, Great Expectations, which is kind of funny. Our keynote speaker at the end of the day today is Patti Stanger. She and I both got our start in the industry with Great Expectations. So I walk in there, the guy who took my money, maxed out my credit cards, talked me into joining. That's the guy I later flirted with, asked out on a date, and dragged down the aisle. And we've been married for 30 years. That's Gil Ferman. So I married into the dating industry and almost instantly found myself wanting to make it better. Back then, part of the problem was, 95% of the leads were wasted, just wasted, because only the people who made it into the office and survived that timeshare sales process, which is what it felt like. Buy today, it's going to be cheaper. Come back tomorrow, it's going to cost you more. Don't you know if you don't make them cry, they won't buy? All of these really horrible sales practices, which explains why there were so many complaints with these highly sales focused companies. So anyway, we brought coaching into the company, and then later with the online dating becoming so much a part of mainstream, we knew it was probably a good time to sell those Great Expectations companies, and we did. And then I launched my own personal matchmaking company, trying to solve the problems, build a better spouse trap. Back then, Patti Stanger and I were the only people that I knew at the time who were inventorying lots and lots and lots of people, not only the people who'd made it into the office to fork out the big dough. That was the innovation. So I thought I had something special because I was serving not just men, but women too. And I thought this is going to be really fun. So I'm building my company, and all of a sudden, I'm laying in bed with my husband, who likes to watch television at night, not my favorite thing. And I remember being like, but he just turned the damn thing off. And who's on the screen on a 2020 interview but our good friend Lisa Clampett? And I'm sort of groggy. I'm like, what? There's somebody doing an institute. There's somebody going to crank out all these matchmakers to be in competition with me. And how do I know that they're even going to be good at what they do? And I remember feeling a little unsettled about it. And I will tell you that I didn't sleep well that night. The next day, I go online and I study everything there is to study about the Matchmaking Institute. And I liked Lisa's vibe. I liked that it was service oriented, not just how to get the next lead, how to get that credit card out of their wallet. It was nothing like that. It was about serving the industry and helping matchmakers really learn their trade and develop their own version of matchmaking. So I signed up and I went to New York and I had a great time, and I've been involved with Lisa ever since. So that was what I call the first time ever I saw your face, Lisa Clampett. And so even though that day I felt like my eye was rolling a little bit, like what they're going to teach, you're going to crank out these people. And then I got more and more involved with the Institute, and I realized that we were really building possibilities, not just for us as business owners, but for all of our clients. The thing I'm really excited about right now, it's only taken 19 years. I don't know why it took so long, Lisa Clampett, but now finally what's coming out is a CRM system where we can find matchmakers everywhere. You would laugh if you saw the Excel document that's always on my screen on my desk, because I've been trying to build this myself for all these years. Oh, somebody registered from Tulsa. Who's in Tulsa? Let me look and see. It's not efficient. It's not effective because it's not in real time. So the thing I'm excited about all of you discovering is that now finally it's happening. Next month will be the month that all of us will be able to be found by each other so that we can refer clients back and forth. We can find resources for each other. My client's going to San Francisco next weekend. Who's in San Francisco that maybe she should meet while she's there? Let me go pop onto the CRM and find out. Oh my gosh, Shannon Lundgren's there with Shannon Circle. That's the kind of thing that we're going to be able to do now. So did anybody else think it was surprising when you found out about this conference that there wasn't a fee attached? I'm like, okay, how much is it going to cost? How much? I'm happy to pay the fee. It was free. I'm like, wow, that's really bizarre. But wait a minute, I thought that's really smart, because now's the time we all have to get re-engaged with the Global Love Institute and get ourselves either certified for the first time. If you've never been through that process and you're on this call in this conference, just know that this is the institute that you can trust to help you perfect your skills. So if you've never gotten certified, then what you want to do is you want to get onto Corey Martiri's text. I think Corey's going to put like the link for you to touch base with Corey. She'll help you decide what's the right level for you. A bunch of you, I understand, are on this call at this conference, and maybe you got certified a long time ago and it's kind of lapsed. All right. So there's an opportunity for you to get back in the swing of things, not expensive. For those of you who, like I had been lapsed. I was lapsed and I didn't realize it. So I knew that in order to be supporting the Institute, I got to do whatever I got to do. So it was $250 for me to jump back in and get certified and recertified so that I'm there for 3 years, which means when this CRM system comes live, which I think is happening next month, people will be able to find me and I'll be able to find other people. So, and it's finally like, you've got a referral for somebody who's in Baltimore, but you don't know like who takes women, who takes men. Do you show photos? Do you have a database? It's all going to be there. So I think right there on the screen, there's a little text box. If you haven't yet jumped in to recertify yourself for $250 for 3 years, go for it. If it's been more than 5 years, it's $495 because it's been longer. You got to catch up. So anybody who's not done that yet, please jump in and do that. If you have any questions, put it in the text box. Send an email, because this is where you want to be. If you miss the opportunity to jump in on the CRM, then you'll be missing all those connections. So the thing I want you to be thinking about over the course of the rest of the day and all the things that you learned yesterday is, what is your natural expression? How do you want to run your business? Some of you are doing this newly, you're creating your companies. Some of you are motivated to do this thing big, to be like a Maria or to be a Lisa or to be a Violet and Jamie and do this thing big. Pay attention to those people and start building your plans. A lot of you might be really happy having a boutique matchmaking company. That's what I have right now. I used to have a big company. Things got ugly in 2013. I thought, well, what am I going to do now? I called Lisa Clampett and she said, so simple, Julie, just jump right back in here at the Institute, design your boutique plan, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. I did everything that she said, and I've been profitable every year since. And I run it by myself right here in this office in my sweatpants, which is just awesome. And I get to choose who I want to spend my time on and who I want to take on as a client. I'm very selective about who I'll take on as a client. And there's something else I did this year, which was really innovative and exciting. And it was a direct response to what's been happening with this COVID environment. I wanted to make more matches happen. So I started the community service division of my company. For every match I make for paying clients, I make another one for free. And that's been my greatest generator of new clients this year, because the word is out now in Los Angeles and Santa Fe that there's this matchmaker who does a lot of matchmaking for free. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? But it's a natural expression for me. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I get more excited about the free introduction than I did the one I just got paid to do. So that's the kind of freedom that we have as business owners. And I really encourage you to take full advantage of this institute. And I want you to pay attention to one more thing. Each of us has an opportunity to determine for ourselves, who do we want to hang with? You know, what kind of clients do we want to take on? What kind of people do we want to have in our communities? What type of matchmakers and dating coaches do we want to solidify beautiful relationships with? That's what I call my people. So for each of us, there are my people and not my people. As you begin exploring these relationships with people that you're meeting here, pay attention to who your people are and jump in with the Institute at all these different levels so that you can begin nurturing those relationships. That's what will keep you inspired to be doing this for 30 years. Lisa, have I missed anything?
No, I think that's great. And I think in general, you know, to continue to sort of unify as an industry and to come together, it's all about connection, collaboration, knowing who each of us are. And one kind of important thing too is I think a lot of times folks will contact us and say, hey, you know, there's an unethical matchmaker in this area. And I'm like, dude, just fill out the dispute resolution, which is a free service we offer, so we could be aware of it. And if they're certified, then we send them the report. So I think that this is really important. When anyone comes on board and is certified, you sign a code of conduct, you get your certificate, you get access to the dispute resolution. You can tell us about anyone in the industry, even if you're collaborating with other matchmakers and they're not behaving ethically, let us know. And I think that this unifying of the industry is crucial. And it's been so busy lately with everyone wanting to get into this career. It's been such a really powerful last year that this is where we decided, like, if we don't start really organizing everyone, it's not going to be unified. And I think that I can't tell you how often I'm contacted with, like, who do you know in Toronto? Who do you know in London? Who do you know in Japan? And it needs to be in one system, and there's no other way to do it other than getting into a system that is going to be a live system, which means that if someone changes their business tomorrow, you'll be aware of it. If someone goes out of business or into business tomorrow, you'll know. So it's the only way that we have been able to keep up with all of the certified matchmakers and all the matchmakers out there. So I just so highly recommend thinking about how you can participate in helping the industry grow and regulate and unify. And so that's our contribution. That's our way of doing it. Any suggestions you have, we're always available, and we're always excited to sort of set up a Zoom meeting or to understand more from the community, what we can offer or what's missing. So that's just in a nutshell, like, why we're doing this now. We've certified people for so many years now that it's impossible to keep track with who's in business and who's not. So that's really the important ask of this.
And if you haven't discovered it, guys, right on your text, in the text box, Corey has put the links there. So you jump in for $250 for 3 years, if it's been longer than that, you need to, then it's $495. And if it's brand new, check in with Corey and she'll schedule a call with you and let you know all about the options that you have. But this is your home, folks, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we evolve and sculpt and manage the dating industry. So thank you for everything that you've done, Lisa. We love you and we support you.
Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. And thanks everyone again for being here and participating, and continue to let us know feedback. And again, like the survey going after this will be really helpful to what you found valuable and what the community needs. So thanks again for being here. All right. I think, Julie, you can just go to the next speaker.
Oh, yeah. Hang on a minute. I have to get the right page open. Hang on a minute. Who's coming up?
My buddy, Jamie Lee.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. We get to hear from Jamie Lee, who is the other half of Violet Lim. And these two are the dynamic duo. And I think they're so well matched. I think they could never, ever get divorced because, first off, they're really good parents together. But the other thing is, I don't know how the company would continue without both of them. It's the perfect marriage of technology, the marketing understanding, the systems, and that's what Jamie's really brilliant at. And then, you've got Violet, who's like the face of the company and all the PR and all of it. It is the most beautiful marriage I've ever seen. Jamie, help us learn more about operational systems and how to run these big companies. Tell us everything you know in about, half an hour. Jamie Lee.
Thank you, Julie. Really appreciate the kind introduction. Okay, so I'll just share my screen and just jump straight to it. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? It's all good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me a little bit of myself. Violet and I started the business together. We were actually not even married then. But 1 year later, we got married. And I think it's been a very, very eventful and fruitful partnership and relationship together. I think we complement each other, like Julie said, in a sense that it's a great journey because of, we respect each other in what we do best in, and we do trust each other in those aspects as well. Okay, so for me, I've produced and created a lot of products, and a lot of I enjoy the creation process, as well as I built quite a few CRMs for the industry. So currently, maybe I'll show you the one that we are building for, which is we have named the Global Love Database. So I'll just go to the next thing. Okay, so everyone knows the issues. It's been shared tirelessly here. Interestingly, it's a $9 billion industry. Everyone thinks the dating industry, majority of the world or the audience or the people think online dating. They think Tinder. And when they think of serious, sometimes many people only think of eHarmony or some other serious sites. Many people are more aware of matchmakers now, but they're not the mainstay here. It's sad to say. It's still very, very dominated by the online players, and this is shown by the market share. In the market share, let's say it's around a $9 billion industry. Only 3.8 belongs to the offline, and a lot of it of that is as in China and Japan. This is not to say the industry is not growing everywhere else. The industry for the offline has been growing quite healthily and rapidly, but it's more silent. But then everyone's talking about Tinder growth, about other like Bumble growth, Bumble's IPO. And why is that? Because for the online players, they employ, it's a technological platform that allows the company to scale with less manpower, with more economies of scale. Whereas the offline industry, there are way more numerous players. There's so many more players than the 2,000 maybe other online players. We have maybe like more than that, maybe 30 times that number of players in the industry. So as a result, there's only that much one player can do, right? Because it's a very fragmented industry. Everyone's doing their own thing. And one of the things I think the Institute has done very well is to really bring about a culture of collaboration that's creeping in to the industry over the years. From a very competitive mindset, it became a more collaborative mindset. But there's also so much we can do if we don't have the technological platforms for it. So one thing we've been talking about is international standards and accountability. I think Lisa talked about a bit about that. So a lot of people enter the industry. So there's a much lower entry barrier versus an online player. Because when you start online dating company, to get into any scale, you probably need at least $5 to $10 million. For the offline, the scale is lower for the barrier to entry. We have been collaborating, but how do you know if the other person's single is verified? How goes the verification process? There's no really database of singles that has been verified the way you're all like. And in the past, I think there's some tools that allows collaborations. There's a lot of collaborations going on Facebook pages, but would it be better if there was a tool that actually focused on collaborations and eased the way for it? And its sole purpose, or one of the main purposes, is that. There's also in business, especially for us, there's high cost of marketing. You have to spend to market, to find your matches, to find your leads. Because we are offline, many of us still have offices. We still have offline costs. We hire people sometimes to do a lot of the work as well. And finally, because we are all so numerous, we don't have the budgets of the online players. We don't have their tech teams. Maybe they have 100 people size tech team. Because we are fragmented, even we do have tech teams that tend to be very small in size. So there's less skill to develop technological products that could really help the industry versus the online. So these are some of the challenges we have as an industry versus the online players. Okay, so this is why one of the reasons why in the past we built this CRM called the Matchmaking Pro. So we recently revamped it with a rebranding, and we call it the Global Love Database. And we move away from just calling it CRM, because what our purpose here is to really produce and create a resource for everyone. Basically, we would like matchmakers to come here, and if they want to find matches for their clients, they can do it easily, quickly, and with less errors. So all these are the advantage of tech, right? And importantly, quickly as well, right? So it's largely a system that will encompass the business in a box. And you can manage your leads here. You can buy leads here. You can manage your sales and operations here. You can network with the love professionals. And then importantly, with some of the partnerships we are negotiating, we can also synergize for once between the online and offline. The onlines have the scale, the size of databases. The offline has the personal touch and the personalized service. So is that possible for synergy? With a system that has enough scale? Yes. Okay. So overall, it looks to build a healthier offline industry, which the offline industry can come together, work together, and be comparable to the online industry in terms of some of the technological and the reach and skill that in the past that was out of reach for us all. Okay, so this is a glance at the system, which is okay. So when you first log in, of course, you get a dashboard that at a glance you can see how your business is going, how many clients you have, how many leads you have, and you can click and go to see those leads and manage your business as such. Okay, you can grow. There's a whole pipeline management. You can see, okay, what are the calls I missed out yesterday? What are the calls I need to do today? What are the calls I need to do tomorrow? Which one bought and which one bought which package? How do I convert this guy to a client? So I convert it to a client or a resource. So you can manage your client database by the system, as well as get everything organized. So with the pictures, with all what the criteria is. But all this is pretty much old news. I think many of you are using a CRM. There's other CRMs out there. So what are we trying to do here to make it unique or special? Definitely, as I mentioned, the idea is to focus on collaboration. Okay, so but before I go on collaboration, one of the other key things we are building for future feature is the graphic cross match. That feature is, we are still in the process of refining and building to make it better. So the gist of it is, firstly, like Lisa and Julie said, you can go there and see a list of all the matchmakers that you certified ones that you can work with and collaborate with. And you may even want to know, oh, our curiosity can do a search, in Singapore, how many matchmakers are there that are certified that I can work with, and you can do a search by the city, and really all those matchmakers will come up, and you can see who, the certified matchmakers there. Importantly, this is the one baby step to create that shared database for everyone. To have I mean, one of the things people always complain about matchmakers is, oh, the Tinder has so many matches, I can get a date tomorrow or that. To be of equal scale and have that variety would be, I believe, technology and this shared database vision that I think we have been having for a long time. In fact, we talked to Dev about it, right? It was supposed to be last year. I do know it's been very, very delayed all the time. The difference is we are done. We are really done now. So it's going to launch next week for some of the features, and properly with the leads and everything next month. So we are going to beta. And the system, if you log in now, these features are actually almost done. And of course, we will be improving it as well. Both matchmakers. Okay, so this basically, of course, someone wants to match with your client. Of course, you don't just say anything, just do it without telling you. Of course, everything's permission based. You have to say okay to the match and all that. And then, of course, this is a paid match. Then the payment is done by the system. And you don't have to worry, will I be paid for this match? When do I collect money or that? It's just all settled by the system. Okay, so importantly, this is also, this is a key feature that we worked on as well, which is the Global Love Marketplace. Basically, what we are building is for matchmakers and an opportunity to also to collaborate with the online players. But importantly, we started off with the matchmakers first. Okay, so let's say you are in Chicago and you get a lead in Los Angeles. So you're not there, you can serve. And I understand you have your own network. You could actually propose that another matchmaker to this client. So you could do it the manual way, which is just contact, and then hopefully the person sends you the payment and all that, even though there's some probably need to send the information on that. So all these features that were created makes this easier and faster. So you just basically just sell with their permission, of course. You can't sell a lead without your client's permission. You sell the lead. The client's information is ample enough for the other matchmaker to know it's verified and it's a real lead. And this guy has a chance of buying. And then after that, if the other matchmaker agrees and buys it, then it immediately goes to the CRM and they can immediately work on the lead, bring them out as soon as possible, turn them to a client, and immediately start matching them as soon as possible as well. So
Amy, your slides are on preview mode as opposed to presentation mode, just FYI.
So it is not full screen, is it?
Right, it's not full screen. I don't mind it, but someone mentioned it.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. I thought I pressed play. This one, let me just do that again. Yeah, embarrassingly, for a tech person, I don't seem to be able to get this.
I actually don't mind it. I think it's nice because I can see what's coming up next, but I just wanted to let you know just in case you wanted to change it. But I think it's fine, Jamie, just continue.
Yeah, you know what, as embarrassing it is for me, I'll just carry on so that I don't lose the momentum to explain this to you. Okay, so sorry about that. I'll be better next time. Yeah. Okay, so there's once again no risk of not being paid because there's all a middle person. The lead will not be exchanged unless the payment is made and then the payment eventually sent to you. Okay, so there's all this middleman risk is reduced. And importantly, this is not just the end of our tech plans. We want to develop Find a Matchmaker website which we are in the midst of now, and the Find Matchmaker app. So eventually these feeds lists, we'll find the budget for the client. Let's say they are interested in a matchmaker, and we feed it to this market as well for people to also get leads in a more affordable way, rather than spend heavily on a marketing team to do all these ads. We can actually reduce the pain of the process. Okay, so that is the development of the app. And as I mentioned, we are in partnership talks with someone to actually work with to find at least 2 online players to start off with this as well with, and also to cross-sell the leads into the marketplace. Of course, these leads will be verified as much as we can, and to be ensured they are as high quality as we can for your matches, or as a resource, or as a paying client. Okay. Okay, so next. Okay, so this is just a glance at the market. So it's in the same system, so there's no confusion here. Basically, it's even the first thing you see below the dashboard. So this is where I think I will show the demo rather than just show you screenshots. I probably realize you can't see now. Okay, so let me just share the other thing. Okay, so everyone can see this on full screen now, right? Okay. Okay, so this is a glance of the Global Love database. So as you mentioned, this is the dashboard. So as of course, these are all not real clients. I told them to just make it look. Okay, so this is a dashboard, and you can see all your clients, the pending dates you need to arrange, all the matches you have to do, and then all the clients you need to follow up with. So I click here. I go to these clients that I actually have to follow up with. Okay. So I think everyone knows. Sorry? Oh, okay. So as mentioned, this is the first option here is below the dashboard is the leads marketplace. So you can buy your lead here. So of course, we improve it with time, okay? So it's not perfect now. So let's say I really want to buy this lead from Atlanta. Okay, so the price is not going to be 20 cents. But I just give an example because I think I told them to do something. So if I put a credit card and actually buy it so you can see it. But let's say I just buy it along with a few others, and I'll go and buy the lead. Okay, I'll proceed to buy it. So firstly, of course, the other side will be notified I'm buying a lead from them. And I'll pay. It will be transacted, and then the share will be split up accordingly. Okay, so just for the interest, it's just there. Let's not waste time and do it. Okay. So what if on the other side I get a lead I can't work with? Then in that case I can sell a lead. So these are potentially all the leads that are in cities that I can't serve based on the CRM, and then I can actually take a look at it. And then I see there's enough details, and then I won't be able to sell a lead that has insufficient details, or later on there'll be a warning whether the lead has been informed that you're recommending another matchmaker. So you then set the price. Currently, all leads are exclusive for now, but I don't know, we could discuss as together and see if that makes sense. Must all the leads be exclusive? But for now, if another matchmaker buys a lead, it belongs to that person. No other matchmaker can get their hands on it. Okay. Okay, so that is a buyer. So you can of course see all the leads that you have purchased over time also. So in this case, these are the 3 leads perhaps I bought before, and I can work with now. It goes straight to your leads management, and your leads management, you then go to your usual workflow to click and to call them to see when they're available for the meeting, to set appointment, and to call them accordingly. After that, you go to your client management, and then you work with them to create your matches with them in the system. And of course, after that, not everyone here arranges the date, but for the ones that arranges the date, these features are here for the date to be arranged as well. Then you get your usual statistics that you want. And importantly, if I want to collaborate with another matchmaker, I can now find that matchmaker. I can, let's say I want, okay, these are the current search terms, but there'll be more, like what Julie said, if someone does photos or anything. But let's say I just want a certain country, like Singapore, and then it will just apply the link, and then it will just short. It's not finished yet. Okay, so it will show all the matchmakers in Singapore at this point. Okay. So that is the listings as well as the lead marketplace. They're all new features into the Global Love database. And I think our direction be a bit different, and it plays up on our strengths. I think the Institute always been building a collaborative culture for you. So now we are in the midst of building a collaborative system for you as well. You could just use this for your collaboration and then use your other CRM for your work management. It's up to you. But the gist of it is we just want this to be a tool for you guys. Whether you use it as the CRM, or use it to get more leads, or use it to find more matchmakers, or you use it to work together, to match together. Okay. That is the, let me go back to my slides then. Just give me a second.
And you know, just so you know, the system is a free system that we offer just for free for the first user. So we want it to be a resource for everybody. If you're certified, you have 2 free users. But it's a really great way to sort of link in and be able to communicate and connect. And those of you who don't have a CRM, I so strongly recommend that you do use a CRM to help organize all of your people. It's really crucial.
Importantly, we are also integrating this with an app. So the Find a Matchmaker app would be able to allow you get new clients for people searching for your city, and they'll feed into the list. But also importantly, in the future, we would integrate it with some operational matters as well. So let's say your matchmaker or certified as in this system, you would be able, if you want, to show your matches by this system as well. So these are some of the technology direction that we want to provide so that the offline industry can reach a point where we definitely can be even, to be honest, we should be bigger because we offer so much stronger product. And why we are not a bigger part of the industry, because I think it's because we are too fragmented. So this is a vision I think the Institute would like to see and maybe kickstart. Yeah. Okay, so future plans. Okay, so definitely we are just beginning. There are already matchmakers using the Global Love database. So we want to, of course, increase the traffic of that. We want to increase the traffic of interested leads coming so that you will be able to use this as a one-stop shop. So all this is definitely the increase of traffic towards the Global Love database platform would be one of the key objectives and directions for us. Of course, we already have tied up with a partner to find 2 other online players to work with. So this is something I've been trying for a long time, to be honest. We have never gave up on that vision. Generally, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but with this new partner, hopefully we can truly find a suitable online player to work with. And essentially, when that happens, the amount of leads and potential matches in everyone's reach is suddenly so much exponentially more for everyone. Okay, we want to build the Find a Matchmaker app. In the beginning, it's just a Find a Matchmaker app. Okay, in the future, it can be more for everyone. Okay, and importantly, we have started with the all the things like that. So we have worked with more experts in the industries to create like master classes for you. We are going to create. We have monthly classes to reinforce the education, the basics that you learned from the certification, and to reinforce it in these monthly sessions with you that is done for free as well. And basically, we want to learn how to basically support the industry, and especially the certified matchmakers and dating coaches as well. And the dating coaches are natural complement to, I know I mentioned a lot of matchmakers, but I really feel the future of this industry is a combination and a complementary synergy between both matchmakers and dating coaches. And this is why we work with Terry. And you know, as we don't have enough of everything, or else we launch everything together, right, with dating coaches and matchmakers. But we have to do it step by step. So we start with the matchmakers first, and then we start building more technological tools for the dating coaches in time as well. Okay. Okay, so generally, I think this is just not just for us. I think as an industry, firstly, there are more people joining the matchmaking. I mean, more singles take up matchmaking, right? It's inevitable if we can get organized, making us the more dominant industry, which we should be, because we offer a stronger, more personalized service. And yet they are bigger, which they offer nothing except for self-service service. So it's win-win for the singles, and also the certification allows us to identify some way who's organized, who has high standards, who agrees to the ethical standards that has to be in place for this industry to thrive as well as to build a stronger, these standards, verification standards are good enough. So what is good enough? So we have to come together as industry, and having this platform together will be a start. Okay, so definitely we are just beginning. Long last, we are ready to launch. So we are definitely looking for a committee to work together to get best ideas from. Of course, we will always survey everyone, but it's easier just to find a common, small, nimble committee that will definitely give feedback and ideas. And to be honest, we are working with some of the heavy users of the database already. But of course, we want to grow this and to really get as much input and feedback and ideas from everyone on where to go ahead. Maybe we think our direction is good, but actually there's a better direction out there. And this is a feedback that we solicitate and welcome. That's the end of my presentation.
So Jamie, someone's asking how they can join. Are we just going to send a follow-up email to let folks know how they can continue pre-registering?
I think there are two ways. Okay, one is definitely you can just go to globallovedatabase.com and it's there for you to register. But our experience is we do get a lot of people signing up. The challenge is maybe the education process of how to truly use the system to maximize. So that's why what we want to encourage is people to sign up, but immediately have a demo next week with us so that you know how to use the system rather than, I hoped we made it as intuitive as possible. But even so, we still have many cases of people still figuring out how to use the system. We tried to make it a workflow. This means it starts with the leads, then it goes to sales, then it goes to matchmaking, then after it goes to date coordination, then it goes to feedback. That's the flow we created here. But it's maybe some demos and all that will actually ease the way for the usage of it. So do sign up, but do immediately request for a demo for us next week. And we'll be organizing that. Yeah.
So the demos we'll be having regularly. So if you sign up for it, we'll let you know when the next demo is. Another question is, if you're using another system, do you have to duplicate your leads to accommodate this system?
Unfortunately, if you purchase the lead from the marketplace, it goes into our lead management, but you just copy over. That's the best we can do. We may add more features to make it of ease, maybe downloadable in Excel. That will be one easy way to do it, I guess. But we are not integrated with other CRMs at this point because it just takes up too much technical work to do that. And so we'll focus our effort on improving the features and make it better first. But yes, you probably at this point will just need to duplicate, and it shouldn't be too much. There are not too many fields in a lead. Just copy over.
Corey, can you put the link to sign up for the Global Love database in the chat room?
Yeah.
So that folks can just go there.
Yeah, do you have any more questions? Because I have a handful too.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You ask the questions because I know Tim is ready. So Tim will probably get a couple minutes.
We briefly touched on this. Is there's an easy way to migrate database from the CRM to a Global Love database, even if there's a fee. So we would definitely teach you how to extract the data. If it's a lot, I guess we can talk about, doing the migration if there's a fee involved in it. Let's see. There's also, Maria has a question. If we use another matchmaking CRM and have no intentions of leaving, can we use this to collaborate with other matchmakers? And also, can we share a link or file when working with other matchmakers, or do we have to re-input all the info?
There are other great CRMs out there. I think we know these people as well. They are doing a good job. This is not here for us to, try to put anyone to compete heavily. We are in collaboration mode, but of course within our technical limits as well. So what we could do is maybe if there's some ideas to smooth collaborations between different CRMs, we're open as long as we have the bandwidth for it. But yeah, use it to collaborate, and use the other CRM. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. How will Global Love database deal with prospects who are in multiple Matchmakers databases?
So when you, so honestly, if it's we probably will have the ability to see if this lead is in multiple Matchmakers databases. So that probably could be improvement. But in the beginning, if you sell a lead and it's in multiple Matchmakers databases, that person still has the right to sell it. But obviously, if you already have this lead in your lead management, you won't buy it, but someone else could buy it. So at this point, it's at this simple, straightforward state, but we will improve it based on feedback and ideas on how to make it smoother.
So I know that there's more questions, but we've run out of time. So is there any other urgent question, Corey, that's quick and relevant?
I just think what we'll do is we'll get a copy of this, and since we're going to be doing a demo here next week or the week after, we can have those questions addressed then as well.
Yeah, so we'll have a follow-up. We'll put in the link in the chat for the Global Love database sign up, and it's free. So it certainly doesn't hurt to sign up. And then we can get information. It's right there. So globallovedatabase.com. And then we'll have a demo next week, and we'll probably have demos every other week so that you can participate in that. And then we'll let everyone know when the launch and each development is ready. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So, Julie, I think Tim is here and he is ready. So,
all right. So happy to switch gears. This is going to be so much fun. You know how you don't know really what words to use when you're putting together your ads and your marketing. You're wondering what's going to work. Well, our next speaker, Tim Ash, knows the answer to that question. He is an international keynote speaker. His specialty is evolutionary psychology and digital marketing. His book is Unleash the Primal Brain, Demystifying How We Think and Why We Act. He's also best-selling author of Landing Page Optimization, the definitive guide to testing and tuning for conversions. So Forbes called him a top 10 online marketing expert. Entrepreneur Magazine said he's an online marketing influencer to watch. His clients are people like Canon and Nestle and Google and Expedia and Amex and Verizon, Facebook and Humana. And now he is all ours. Tim Ash, take it away.
Thanks, Julie. Very happy to be here. I'm going to span two things that are my favorite topics. One is online marketing. The other is psychology. There's a huge overlap, and I've been practicing the online marketing for about 20 years. And now my focus is more, as you mentioned, on the evolutionary psychology. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a whirlwind tour of how your brain really works and how, as a marketer, as somebody who's promoting your business, you can take advantage of the irrational, I guess you could say, evolutionary shortcuts in our head. And I'd like to leave a lot of time for Q&A at the end. So if the host could moderate the stuff that's coming in the chat, I encourage all of the participants to start typing in your questions and comments as we go along, and we'll get to as many of them as we can at the end. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and get rolling. I want to start by telling you a story. And that story starts a long time ago. And the story is why we need a brain. I want you, as I'm telling this story, think about it for a second. Why do you need a brain? Let's start back 13.8 billion years ago with the Big Bang. That's when the universe came into existence, and we started with nuclear furnaces and emptiness swirling around. Some of these clouds of gas eventually coalesced into the clumps of dirt. We live on one today. If you think about the word for earth itself, or tierra in Spanish, any other word, most of them have to do with the fact that it's a clump of dirt. And on this clump of dirt, some of them had sloshing liquid seas. Ours happened to be water. It could be methane or other stuff that's not very conducive to life. And then about 3.5 billion years ago, matter started copying itself. Yes, I know the descendants of these early life forms are still with us today in the middle of this pandemic, but the very first life was viruses. And then things later got more sophisticated and cells appeared. Now, when you think about a cell, it's a very, very intricate mechanism. It has an army, a police force, a factory. It has waste disposal, has all of the services that you need to run a good sized city. And it's all inside of a single cell. So life was progressing and all of this is great, but it still doesn't answer my original question of why do we need a brain? It seems kind of obvious. We have brains, we must use them for something, but why does life on this planet need a brain? Not all life does, by the way. Plants don't need a brain. They just do the best they can. I mean, yes, they can show intelligent behaviors. They can close up wounds with sap. They can open only in the presence of sunlight or under other conditions. But really, plants just kind of do the best they can in whatever environment they're in. So if we really want to understand why we need a brain, I want to introduce you to this strange little creature called the sea squirt. Now, it starts out life swimming in the ocean, and it finds a nice rock that it really likes and attaches itself to the rock. And the very first thing that the sea urchin does once it's attached to the rock is it eats its brain. It eats its brain and uses that energy to construct a digestive system. After that, food just falls into its mouth, floating by on the currents. It doesn't need a brain, so it recycles it. So why did it need a brain in the first place? Well, the first part of its life was actually spent swimming and figuring out what rock to attach to. Those are things in the world of motion. And all other descendants of this form of life that move decided to take advantage of it too. So here I have some key takeaway slides. Here's my first. Brains evolve for challenges of moving through the environment. That's why we need a brain. Yeah, the plant can slowly open to the rising sun. That's great. But if the bear's trying to eat you, you kind of need to respond to that right away. It's not optional. Now that we understand why we have a brain, let's talk about how the brain really works. And there are a lot of misconceptions here. How many of you are familiar with the idea of having a left brain and a right brain? There's the creative part and the logical part. Raise your hand. Are you familiar with that? Okay, well, it's total bullshit. Now, for this demonstration, I've shaved my head. So if you can see the little inset of me talking, there's a bias here. We're looking from the top of the head. That's why, and then this left and right separation, yeah, it exists. There's some specialized parts of both sides, but they're definitely not logical and creative. And there's a huge superhighway connecting them called the corpus callosum that essentially makes everything work together. So it's a meaningless distinction. So if you want to blow up the brain, and by the way, don't try this at home, this is really what it looks like. So we have the cerebral cortex. We peel apart those left and right hemispheres. Underneath there, we have our mammalian inheritance. It's what we call the limbic system. That's where memories are formed and strong emotions, and I'll talk about that in more detail. And underneath that, there's the more ancient parts of the brain, the brainstem, and that keeps the lights on. And I'm going to talk about each of these in what they do and why they're important. So most of us think that the ideal is being Mr. Spock. If only we could make logical decisions, everything would work out great. Captain, there's a 98.6% probability that we will die in this encounter with the Klingons, says Mr. Spock. Thank you, Mr. Spock. So we think that reason is important. I mean, after all, how many of you, raise your hand, would want to be the opposite of reasonable? Do you want to be illogical? Do you want to be crazy? Do you want to be unpredictable? I mean, we have a word here in California, in San Diego, where I live. We say, dude, that's totally random. I mean, it'd be a hard world to live in if everybody acted randomly, if people slammed doors in front of you instead of holding them open, if they ran red lights. I know there's some drivers in Florida that are quite familiar with that situation. But we don't want to live in an unpredictable world. And we think that rationality is the highest attainment of human beings. But as I mentioned, underneath that, we also have the feeling brain. And this is something we share with all mammals. Now, this was a very important evolutionary step because we're weaker than independent types of animals. We congregate in herds, and that's what gives us protection. But in order to take advantage of that, we have to maintain our tribal hierarchy, if you will, our place in the herd. And that means that we have to understand relationships. We have to memorize things. Those alliances are always shifting inside the tribe. So feeling and memory are tied together. So basically, our mammalian inheritance is feelings and memory. And underneath all that is the stuff that keeps the lights on, the reactive part of the brain that we share also with crocodiles and snakes and lizards, what I call the reptilian brain. Let me ask you a quick question. How many of you consciously thought this morning about how to put your shirt on? Yeah, probably not. That happened automatically. How many of you slept last night and thought about, gee, I really need to keep my heart beating, otherwise I'm going to die? Yeah, not so much, because that's happening automatically. Digestion, respiration, all of these things are happening automatically. I call it in your body. And that's the reptilian part of the brain at work. So really, we don't have this, again, bullshitty left and right brain idea. We have three brains working together: the reasoning, feeling, and reacting brains. And we're familiar with the logical brain again, although the function of it is misunderstood. It's not for building microwave ovens or sending people to the moon or to Mars more recently. It's really to understand our place in the social tribe. We form close bonds with about 100 to 200 other people, and we want to understand those changing hierarchies. So really, that cerebral cortex is there to model our social world. And literally, when we stop thinking about 4 + 4 = 8, we default to social reasoning and to modeling the social world. Within a split second, we start doing that again. And that's important to minimize the consequences of being in our social group while maximizing the benefits. So that's where we put all of our thinking. But below that, the reasoning and reacting parts are at work. And I want to focus on those and tell you more about them. One quality of our brain is that the brain is lazy. It doesn't actually like to have all parts of it online and working all the time. In fact, that's impossible. But basically, it's just on autopilot. And that's a really, really important thing to understand, especially as a marketer. We don't like to make conscious decisions. Let me ask you a quick question. Which one of these is the big dog? The one on the left or on the right? Yeah, okay, you're thinking, Tim, that's obvious. And it should be. And that's the kind of decision making that our brain likes. It likes high contrast and simple choices. And that's also really, really important in marketing. And finally, the brain is very impatient. Let's talk about this in a practical context. Do you know how long it takes someone to form a first impression of your website? Some people would say a second, 2 seconds, something like that. It's actually 1/20th of a second, 50 milliseconds. And we already know whether a website is professional or cheesy or where it lies on that continuum. So the brain is there to make instantaneous choices. They can't necessarily be right all the time, but they're there to make you survive, because a good decision a few seconds too late kills you. And so we evolved that subconscious part of the brain to make choices very, very quickly. So here's another key takeaway. People are lazy, impatient, and like simple choices. Now, when I say people, let me actually substitute a word here. Your website visitors are lazy, impatient, and like simple choices. And if you're honest with yourself, whenever you visit a website, you exhibit these characteristics, and yet you expect everybody else that comes to your site to invest time and to be patient and very much care about things and to wrestle with the complexities of the things you're saying. No, nobody is like that. We have the attention span of a lit match. Always keep that in mind. So let's drill down a little lower and talk about the characteristics of the reptilian part of the brain, that brainstem. And it cares about what I call the 4 F's. And the first F is fighting. If something attacks me, I have to deal with it. and hopefully I'll survive. That's very important. So we're geared for conflict. We release cortisol and adrenaline and all of these things to help us survive in an attack. And they're actually pretty frequent in our evolutionary past. Of course, that's kind of dangerous. So another alternative is flight. I can run away from it. There's the story about the two hikers. They were caught in the woods with a bear. And one of them says, quick, run. We got to get away from the bear. We have to run faster than the bear. And the other hiker says to the first, no, I just have to run faster than you. Okay, but that's a little side comment. Okay, some of us need our morning coffee. I think it's me. I'm going to move on. Feeding. And of course, in the US, we take things to their illogical competitive extremes. This man ate 64 chili dogs in 2 minutes. Okay, that's not what our feeding system is designed for. But when you think about it, we expend energy all the time, so we have to eat. And so hunger is definitely a motivator. Finding that energy, we were balanced on the knife edge of survival and couldn't supersize all of our meals. And that's what we evolved for. And finally, anyone going to guess the fourth F? Okay, put it in the chat. Don't be shy. Okay, I'm going to do the, I got spanked for this, so I'm going to actually do the PG-13 version of it. Fornication. Yes, that's right. We're all here at the Love Conference talking about mating. This is a really high stakes event. The thing to realize is that if we don't throw our genes into the next generation, there was no point, as far as our genes are concerned, for us to exist. The brain, it's a gene hack to help propagate genes. There's nothing wonderful about brains. Like I said, genes can propagate without brains. So they're just helping themselves to propagate by creating brains. But fornication is really, really important. Mating opportunities, all kinds of things go haywire, and we get reprioritized whenever there's a mating opportunity around us. So the key takeaways here is that a lot of this stuff underneath is working automatically, and it never learns. Our primitive brain cares only about, not only, but almost only about fight, flight, feeding, and fornication. All right, you can thank me now for the biology lesson and the history of the universe lesson, but let's get practical. We're going to switch gears and talk about several strategies that will help you to market better by applying these evolutionary psychology ideas. One of them is pain avoidance as motivation. Now, let's try a little thought experiment. Think about your favorite ice cream. I assume most of you have a flavor. Mine's pistachio, by the way. And I say, oh, so here's a bowl of your favorite ice cream. Go ahead and reach for it. And I'll just give you just one single whack with a hammer on the back of your hand while you reach for it. What do you think? Anyone going for that? I mean, you really have to like your ice cream to go for that proposition. And we can definitely feel what that hammer whack's going to feel like. So pain is actually something that we focus in on. Pain and loss are going to take away from our chances of survival. So we're finely tuned to them. Pleasure isn't nearly as powerful a motivation. So have some ice cream, get hit with a hammer. It's not a tough choice, really. Both of those things have their own motivation power, but on average, pain avoidance is about 2 to 2.5 times as powerful as positive motivation. So right now I'm thinking that you're probably selling your matchmaking services as we'll help you find your perfect soulmate and everything will be wonderful. And it's the fairy tale and you ride off into the sunset. That's probably what a lot of your marketing sounds like. I suggest doing the opposite. Don't sell positive outcomes first. Focus on the pain and actually rub salt into the wound. Why would I buy your services? It's not because you're promising me a wonderful future. I have to be dissatisfied enough with my current situation to do something about it and to probably pay you a lot of money for you to take care of that problem. So you have to create momentum for me, the contrast between my current situation and my desired situation. So it goes something like this. You'll die alone. Nobody will even be there at your bedside. You'll feel lonely throughout your life and you won't even experience physical touch or closeness and all of these horrible things. That's my reality today. I'm not exactly an incel, okay, but things are bad. That's why I'm turning to you as a matchmaker. So focus on the negative to create the momentum to make a change and to create the value for your products and services. There's a workout motto that some of you are probably familiar with: no pain, no gain. Well, it's the same in marketing. Unless you create the pain, you don't stand to financially benefit from that. There'll be no gain for you. And the more pain you create, the more I'll value your solution. That's really key. All right, another quick tip would be to start with the fully loaded version of your product. Now, you may have different packages, and it probably goes bronze, silver, gold. We have something for everybody. Just guessing here. There's a famous experiment that they did with pizza toppings. So imagine a cheese pizza, $5, and you can add up to 5 toppings for a total of $10 for the fully loaded pizza. Now, you have 2 choices of how to buy that pizza. You can start with a fully loaded one and take away each of the toppings down to a base pizza, cheese pizza for $5, or you can start with the base cheese pizza and add toppings for $1. Which of those do you think created more value and a higher price for the pizza? It was starting with the fully loaded one. I'm giving it away. It's on this slide. And because the psychology of loss comes into it, the psychology of pain. So you start with that wonderful fully loaded pizza and you go, oh, I could, it costs $1, but I really like my pepperoni. I'd be losing the pepperoni, and I don't want to lose the pepperoni, versus pushing the rock up the hill. So is there's cheese pizza? I like pepperoni, but yeah, not that much. There's this financial pain of paying $1 to get it. So always anchor on the most expensive option you have first. Don't do bronze, silver, gold. Go gold, silver, bronze. All right, let's talk about another important evolutionary psychology consideration, which is doing nothing. We've talked about motivation, but what you're fighting as a marketer is not your competitor. I mean, there's a lot of you here, and some of you may think of others on this call as competitors. Guess what? They're not. Your biggest competition is me not doing anything. Like I told you, the brain is wired to do nothing. In fact, human beings have this really disproportionately sized giant head and brain. Even our closest great ape cousins spend about 8% of their resting calories powering their brains. It's a huge energy intensive system. Humans spend 25% of our resting metabolism just powering our brain. That's how expensive it is. In fact, we have to borrow energy from other places. We have weak muscles. We have what's called the small intestine because our digestive system is not nearly as efficient. All of this information, or rather all of this energy, is being borrowed to power our brains. We delay adolescence and growing into our adult body size just to keep the brain wiring going when we're small children. All of this to conserve energy. So what the brain is trying to do at any point is nothing, literally. The default response of the brain is to ignore. It's an ignoring machine. That's how your brain really works. Science fiction movies where, what if we could get to 100% of our brain capacity? Well, that's total bullshit because we burn through all of our energy and die just by powering our brain. It can't happen. So what we try to do is not change anything. The behavioral economists call this the status quo bias. Status quo means things as they are. I'm not going to change a thing. I don't have to think about it. Don't make me think. So one thing I want you to ask yourself from a marketing or business standpoint is, what can you do to take away thinking? Now, 2 options I'd like you to consider is, one is making your most profitable option the default. What happens if somebody does nothing? You want that to actually be to your benefit. Don't ask them to opt in, ask them to opt out of something if they don't want that to happen. But set the default to be something that makes you the most money. Our standard package is this. If you want to downgrade, again, gold, silver, bronze in that order, then you would lose the following things and you have to take an affirmative step to downgrade. See how that works psychologically? Another thing that's really powerful is subscriptions. And the reason that subscriptions are powerful is because we don't have to do anything. We have to sign up once. But once that subscription is running, we're not checking our credit card statement. We're not even thinking about it. Out of sight, out of mind. I'm doing nothing. How many of you have paid too much for subscriptions? I once had a storage unit, and when I came to clear it out after a number of years, the guy said, "Well, thank you, Mr. Ash." I go, "Thank you for what?" And they said, "Well, for being such a great customer. You've been with us for 5 years." I was paying $84 a month for 5 years for a 5x5 storage unit full of crap. That's several $1,000s. The stuff in that storage unit wasn't worth several $1,000s, but they just kept hitting my bank account every month, and I didn't think about it. The power of doing nothing. That's why most successful companies are based on a subscription model. All right, we're going to talk about another important strategy, and that is the sense of ownership. Now, imagine when you were, I'm going to actually introduce you to your great grandfather. Here he is on the plains of East Africa 200,000 years ago, not very different from this man. We evolved for living in small nomadic tribes. Again, our closed group was no more than 100 to 200 people. Most of them were probably related to us. And while we're on that East African savanna, what will we carry? Well, a weapon, as you can see here, probably maybe some water, maybe some clothes to keep us warm, maybe something to keep the sharp rocks off of our feet, that drooling baby that can't walk yet. We had to carry all that. But anything we carried had to be really, really vital for our survival. And that's something I want you to think about. The sense of ownership really, really attaches to things that have survival value. So the upside of that is that when we bring that into the modern world, we get stuff like this. They call storage units, which I was just talking about earlier, the recession-proof industry. Indeed, we filled up our closets, our garages, and now we need external storage of junk because we get over-attached to it. And guess what? If you walked into Walmart or Target or ordered it on Amazon, you could replace all of that crap you're storing for a lot less money, and it would actually work, unlike most of the stuff in this garage. So the point, the key psychological evolutionary point is that we overvalue the things that we own or have a chance to influence. So what does that mean for us as marketers? Here's some things to think about. Let people test drive your products or services. Can you give them a sample? That's a very powerful way to buy. You've seen that in a retail setting. You might be at Costco or something, and they're like, "Here, try this new hummus dip." Okay, great. Hey, it actually tastes pretty good. I'll pick up a can. Fantastic. So test drives, what does that mean in your context? A consultation, a free matching profile that we make for you, whatever that is. What can you give away and give them a sense of owning it? Customizing and configuring it. This is also very powerful because it makes us imagine using it for our own purposes. So for example, when I buy a laptop at Best Buy, I figure out how much hard disk space, how big the screen is. I'm already thinking about what I need. And that's a vicarious way of experiencing the product as if I already owned it. What is the first thing that someone, when buying a new car, that they try to get you to do? They try to get you to take a test drive, to feel what it would be like. And finally, give people the illusion of control. Let them turn some knobs, and those knobs may not actually do anything. But if people are participating in the process, if they have what I call skin in the game, that can be a very, very powerful way to attach them to your product or service. I want to talk about a couple more things. Visual biasing. As some of you may remember from your middle school, there are two types of vision, rods and cones. And so when we look at the world, we're actually seeing this grayscale, blurry place, but there's motion in it. We can detect things that are moving very well with this grayscale. If we want to actually look at things in detail, our eye jumps around, does these involuntary movements called saccades, and focuses in on interesting things in the scene. But we only have 2 degrees of visual acuity for color and fine detail. So here's the neatest magic trick I've ever seen. We think we're seeing this world. Full color, HD, spectacular. No, you're not. It's imagine looking through paper towel tube roll at the world and moving your head around, and that's what you really see. 98% of visual reality is constructed for you by your brain. You don't see it at any given point. In other words, vision is a very active process, and you have 10 times more neurons going from the brain to control the movement of the eyes than the process visual information coming back. So I created, when I was running my digital agency, what I call the visual hierarchy. And that is text. And yes, copy is important. You should use words like new and free and things like that. They can have a very powerful effect. But in the presence of graphics or images, text is largely going to be ignored because we look at a visual scene. So we're used to images, not conceptual things like language, which are only accessible to our conscious brain. But even images won't stand in the face of motion. Anything moving in your visual field will get your attention. So there's a visual hierarchy: text, graphics, and motion, and each of them will override the lower levels. And the motion is the nuclear option, I call it, of last resort. So this means that you need to go back and probably clean up some stuff on your website. Consciously think about this visual hierarchy. Remove distracting motion. Some of you probably have a banner on your homepage, or God forbid, an autoplay background video. Get rid of it. I always get asked, what do we replace it with? Whatever's below it, just push it up. Just stop wasting visual attention. Minimize powerful graphics unless they're intentionally used to draw attention to calls to action. And in fact, make your calls to action bigger. What if you made that button brighter and twice as big? That will actually help sometimes. So things to consider. One final thing I want to talk about, and I've touched on it a little bit, is the power of free. What do I mean by that? Well, when we're in that close tribe of 100 to 200 people, we're actually looking at our relations, our relatives, people we'll interact with over and over. If you came to my house for dinner, I assume you'd bring a gift. I mean, you'd have to be, pardon me, a real pig not to. So when we're in that relational sphere, we feel safe and we engage a sense of reciprocity. We're very cooperative apes. In fact, putting a gift in someone's hands obligates them to give you something of equal or greater value back. Let me say that again because it's important. Gifts obligate the receiver to provide even more value in return. Otherwise, the whole cooperative thing breaks down. Now, that's great when we're going to have an ongoing relationship with our close tribal members. But as soon as you mention money, you get put from the relational sphere into what I call the transactional sphere. And in the transactional sphere, different rules operate. I may never see you again. How do I know you're not going to screw me? What this does, mentioning money, creates independence and selfishness on the part of people. So there's a giant, vast chasm between free and charging even $1. Free is much more powerful than a low price, something to keep in mind. Try to keep things in the relational sphere, not the transactional sphere. So what can you give away? What can you give as a free gift right now to your audience that has no cost or little cost to you, that maybe can be automated? A download, a white paper, a quiz, or self-assessment, something like that, versus charging them anything. So I just want to wrap up with this before we go into the Q&A. It's not about the technology. Many of you are thinking about online marketing. The last session was, CRM and lead scoring and lead trading and lead buying. All that's wonderful, but it's not about the technology. It's about the evolutionary psychology and the biology. So if you understand how brains work, you can influence them regardless of what the current technology is. Some quick background. Julie already talked about this. You'll get this deck, so I'm not going to spend any time on this. One thing I do want to tell you about is that I wrote this new book. It's going to be launching in paperback. It's already out in ebook and audiobook, narrated by me, called Unleash Your Primal Brain. There's a chapter in it that I call Sexy Apes. It's all about gender differences and how we evolved. So if you email me, go ahead and do it now, tim@timash.com, with the title, I Want a Sample Chapter, I'll send you that Sexy Apes chapter from the book. I think you'll really enjoy it. And who knows, you might even learn something. And then Lisa was kind enough to have the Global Love Institute sponsor 3 free marketing strategy consultations. And there's a qualification on this. You have to have at least 500K in annual online value. And then basically you get to spend an hour with me, and I will give you as much as I can to help you grow your business. So if you're interested in that, again, only for qualified companies, the first 3, email me right now, tim@timash.com. I need marketing help. So either I want a free chapter or I need marketing help or both. Okay. With that, I'm going to throw it back to the hosts, and I'd love to take some questions. If you want to get a hold of me, it's real easy to do. Here's how.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Awesome talk. Corey, do we have any questions for Tim? I know that we're running tight on time, but are there any questions?
Right now, no, but I put Tim's email in the chat.
Yeah, so we have your email. I think the chapter is awesome. I got my book this week. Thank you, Tim. Really helpful information. And I think in terms of like, strategy, when we look at what we're communicating to clients, I think it's really, really helpful to understand how to engage people. And that was really, really helpful, Tim. Thank you so much. And we will forward you any questions we get, but folks can also contact Tim directly. So thank you, Tim.
Oh, it's been my absolute pleasure.
Yay. All right. And I know, Julie, we have our next speaker. So Ricardo, if you can pop that slide up.
Just 1 minute. Your screen, it's here. Done.
And Julie, I think you're muted.
Okay, I think I unmuted myself. Yay. Okay, very good. All these little things that we have to do. So our next speaker is so perfect for right now. It's Louie Felix. And, Louie knows an awful lot about operations for matchmaking companies, both boutique matchmaking agencies and big matchmaking agencies. He's kind of our go-to guy for how to manage sales and marketing. So he's been in the industry now for 17 years. His expertise has been sales training, performance-driven management, strategic growth, and relationship building. So he's been in high-end matchmaking. He's matchmade probably more than any of us, 50,000 clients over the years. And he owns and operates his own company, providing concierge level matchmaking services to clients globally. And also he works with Maria as the COO of Agape Match, high-end New York City based matchmaking company. And what Louie does is he utilizes unique and creative sales strategies and tactical leadership to consistently drive revenue and identify new business opportunities while maximizing available resources. So we recognize Louie for having adaptive management style. He's technologically savvy. He's a forward-thinking leader and a heck of an adorable, wonderful guy. We love you to pieces. Louie Felix, take it away.
Wow. Julie, you make me sound like so impressive.
Well, you are.
God, I miss you. Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you and I and all of us, most of us on this call have been doing this for such a long time. There's just so much information. This was really hard for me to put together, if I'm being completely honest about it, just because I don't know, everybody runs their business in such a different manner. Having gone from, running national companies where you have to sell every single person that walks in the door to, kind of switching over to more of a boutique style business, or even working as the COO of Agape Match with Maria, you just have to learn to kind of conform and reevaluate, reassess what's happening or not happening with your business. And it's a really tough balance to want to increase your revenue and sell everybody that comes into the door without compromising your ethics or your integrity, not only for your business, but for our industry. And when I say it's a tough balance, I mean it truly, because you want to sell everybody, but sometimes when people contact you, what you're selling isn't really what's best for them. So what do you do? So I guess I'll just go over a lot of this stuff quickly. But also, I want you guys to know that I'm super excited to also announce that both Maria and I have partnered with Lisa and the Global Love Institute. And we are bringing all of this to you. And it's great for people who are just starting in the industry, you know, for like 2 years and under. But it's also really amazing for people who have been in the industry for 10 years. Because sometimes you have to take a few steps backward and kind of get back to basics in order to grow your
Louie,
company.
I'm
to the
sorry
next
to
level.
interrupt, but are you sharing your screen?
Oh, not yet.
Okay,
But
sorry.
should I
Thank
share it?
you.
I can share it now. How do I do that?
Thanks.
One sec. So I'm having some difficulties here. Zoom will not be able to record the content of your screen until it is quit.
Do you want to send your presentation to Ricardo and
Yeah,
he
I can do
could
that right
do
now.
it? Okay,
Sorry, guys.
it's okay. And then once you send it, you can just continue talking. And then when Ricardo gets it, he'll just share it. So you don't have to stress. No stress, no stress. All good.
Yeah.
Louie was one of the first people I met in this industry. I think even, is it possible that I met Louie even before Julie or around the same time? It was probably about 18 or 19 years ago.
Yeah.
And
You know, what's interesting about that is you're so right, Lisa, with what you said yesterday. It was such a competitive industry.
yeah.
I mean, we were all friends, but we were all enemies, really. I mean, it's like nobody wanted to share anything with anybody. And I don't know, I still, you know, I can't, like, how many of you speak with Kelleher or like share matches with Kelleher or, you know, even knows really what Kelleher does or who their clients are? So it's one of those, like, they have these huge walls around their company. And that's kind of how we were at Elite, or at Deborah Winkler or at Table for Six. You know, everybody just kind of had these huge walls, and nobody wanted to collaborate, nobody wanted to share. And I just think that because of pioneers like you, Lisa, and Julie and Maria, um, you know, and me being sick of, you know, complaints and not being able to match clients and just running somewhat of an unethical business, really, because it was just such a national um, uh, business. And you know, we could talk about that too. I know a lot of people, you know, have this vision of growing their company nationally or growing and expanding, and kind of the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And I think we've seen it time and time and time and time again with Paul Falzone, with Toros, with, you know, all these other companies, with Elite. um, so I don't know, I'm a big fan of like keeping your company small and growing your revenue, not necessarily by taking more clients, but by streamlining your lead flow. What a great segue into this, right? But basically, you know, going back to partnering with the Global Love Institute, Maria and I are going to be teaching a master program. And, you know, I really firmly believe that you have to take a few steps backwards to move forward sometimes. And that's kind of what this is all about, is, you know, really reassessing or reevaluating what you're doing with the lead when it comes in. How are you initially contacting them? Because the industry has evolved so much. So at Agape, we actually don't call a brand new lead when it comes in. They automatically get an email when they submit their information, and it shows the different options and the different services that we offer in that initial email. And then, of course, I will get a copy of the client's or prospective client's information, and then I send them an email. And in the email that I send them, there's an actual link. It's a Calendly link that gives them the opportunity to schedule an appointment with me. The reason why we do this is, you know, I don't know, maybe it's a New York thing. So maybe your market is different. But in New York, I feel that you can't just pick up the phone and call somebody. I would say 90% of the time that I picked up the phone and called a brand new lead when it came in, they're in the middle of doing something, they're in a meeting, they can't talk right now. And it's like you have that one shot, that one opportunity to really capture something, and pitch them, if you will. Um, and if you're just blown off, then you're kind of in this chasing mode, and you don't ever want to be in a chasing mode. So I switch the power. I send them the email, I let them respond to me, I let them schedule an appointment with me. I've also noticed that when I do that, people that actually schedule the appointments with me are a lot more serious about this, potentially, of course, versus the people that just don't even respond, don't schedule the appointment. And of course, we can do the follow-up calls, but I feel like we're always constantly chasing them. But anyway, with that being said, having been in this industry as long as I have, it wasn't until recently that I think someone that I worked with is actually at this conference. And it was really eye-opening for me in so many different ways, because here I was working with somebody who hired me, who was severely burnt out in the industry, as was I, as are a lot of you that are on this right now. You're burnt out and you're trying to balance, how do you overcome this burnout with growing your business? And I think it was really eye-opening for me. And I really, really love this lady who I'm working with currently, because she really helped me kind of get back to basics myself, right? And a lot of what I'm going to share is kind of what I worked with her on, but I think it's just valuable information to maximize on your lead flow. So ultimately, what I'm going to talk about is establishing methods for the highest returns on your leads. So basically, you want to maximize on every possible sales opportunity. So what's a sales opportunity? Every lead that comes in is a sales opportunity. And so you want to maximize on every possible sales opportunity without compromising the integrity of your organization. So ultimately what that means is, what if somebody just came out of a 20-year marriage, a 15-year marriage? Is matchmaking really what's best for them? So if that's what you offer is matchmaking, do you sell this person a matchmaking package? Right? So actually, don't use the word package. A matchmaking a contract, right? I would love to see everybody in the industry kind of steer away from the word like membership or packages or like gold, bronze, silver memberships. Like all those things are very like, gym membership, or, kind of like a low quality. It's not positioning you to take on very high quality clientele. So I would just start to get back to basics with like offering the services that you provide. But when a lead first comes in, if you want to call them, or if you want to send an email, send them the email. I'll be very happy to share with you guys kind of the email that you can get from Agape. Just go to Agape Match, and I'm sure that you'll get the email if you submit your information. But ultimately, the lead generation begins with fully understanding your branding efforts and your business model. So what Maria spoke about yesterday was so great. It was so important, because you do have to tie in what you're doing to generate your lead flow to how you're presenting what it is that you're offering. So how are you currently generating your lead flow? So are you using, Google pay-per-click, Google search efforts? Are you getting referrals from other matchmakers? Are you networking outside of your industry, word of mouth, social media, maybe Clubhouse? Or maybe you're doing aggressive cold calling. I heard someone from somewhere, I won't say, I don't reveal my sources, but somebody's just cold calling people, and it's kind of getting around that they're just picking up the phone and cold calling people and saying, hey, do you want to hire a matchmaker? That's like a lot of work to do stuff like that. But you know what? At the same time, you kind of have to hand it to them. They're trying to create a big business for themselves. I don't necessarily agree with it, but hey, people do it, right? You got to do what you got to do to run your business. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you're generating these leads, how you're generating this lead flow. The point is that these leads are coming in. What's really interesting is, I think most of us are selling the same way to each person that's coming in, right? So let's see, how do I go to the next slide? Thank you. So basically, what services are you offering these incoming leads? So are you offering just straight matchmaking? Are you offering one-on-one dating coaching? Do you offer group coaching packages? Online profile assistance, so like through the dating apps or the dating sites? Are you just giving general advice to people? Do you schedule an assessment call? Only do one of the above? Do you do all of the above? So basically, lead generations begins with, fully understanding your branding efforts. But, again, depending on how that person that's contacting you comes in and what they're interested in, you need to balance what they think they want with what you think is best for them, right? And that's where this becomes so important when it comes to, can we switch the next slide? Sorry. Do you fully understand why someone is contacting you and what their needs are before you present what you can do for them? So why are people contacting you or your business? So are they looking for a long-term relationship or marriage? Are they looking to start dating again? Do they want to help with setting up their online profiles? Do they want someone to completely take over their online dating account or efforts? Do they just need help with mentally preparing themselves before they start dating again? Do they just need general advice about what they should do at this stage? Why do they want to find the perfect match? Do they want to meet higher quality individuals? So if you really take a step back and start to look at all the different reasons why people are contacting us, are you selling the same way to every single person that's coming in? That's something that you really have to think about. And are you offering the same thing to every single person that's coming in? So if someone that just got out of that 15-year marriage, is matchmaking really best for them? Or should they start with dating, or should they do some coaching first? So you just have to try to balance just selling somebody with doing what's best for them. And I think that's what's most important at this point. And I think people are really smart nowadays. I think people really know when you're trying to sell them something. So you want to steer as far away from being very salesy with people. And you want to really focus on getting to know the needs of the person that is inquiring about what it is that you do. And then ultimately, all of this is going to lead us to, should you restructure your entire business model? Now, I say that very loosely. I don't mean it like you should absolutely restructure and offer everything, but there's going to be a point, where you just need to start taking the necessary time to fully understand the needs of each client that is contacting you. So sometimes we're focused on selling each incoming lead. We don't take the necessary time to fully understand the needs of the prospective client before we offer what we are selling. Next slide. So it is important to ask everyone that's inquiring some qualifying questions before you discuss what you can do for them or what you offer. So always find out how the incoming prospect heard about you and your business. Now, I don't just mean hey, how'd you hear about us? Because that we do with everyone. I think you need to dive so much deeper into that. So if you understand what led them to you, then you can better quickly position yourself to build a stronger rapport with them. Next slide. So ask them if they saw you on a social media platform. So which social media platform was it? Was there a specific video or a post or a topic that was interesting to them? This is really going to give you greater insight as to why they came to you. Did their friend or family tell them about you? Do you know who their friend or family is? Was it a friend or family were they a past client? Have you worked with the friend and family in some capacity? Again, understanding where they came from, why they're calling you, why they're inquiring about your services, rather than just general, they're interested in hiring a matchmaker. Then you're gaining greater insight on each person that's coming to you. Next slide. Ask them if, did they contact you because you popped up search on the Google search? What were they searching for? What were their keywords that they were searching for? That's really interesting to me, because if I know what they were searching for, maybe it wasn't matchmaking. Maybe it was start dating again, and you just happen to pop up. So if you know this information, then maybe matchmaking isn't the best approach, right? So what were they searching for? Are they contacting any other companies? What stood out to them about your company or about you as a matchmaker? Maybe ask them if another company referred them to you, which company referred them, why was that company not right for them? Is there something specific they are looking for? Thank you. So you're basically going to get an in-depth understanding about why they are contacting you in the first place. We should never assume it's because they're interested in what you have to offer, right? So that's kind of a big mistake that we make all the time. So what are they hoping to accomplish by working with you? Have they worked with anyone else in the past? What do they believe are their biggest obstacles? What are they currently doing to meet someone? How long have they been single? Why is this a good time to consider working with someone? What are their options? What else are they considering? Why do they believe they are single? Why is now a good time or the right time to meet someone? What has changed that has finally caused them to reach out to you? All of these questions. Are you asking these questions on your initial call? to gain that better understanding, because that better understanding is what's going to help you figure out what's best for them, right? So knowledge is power. If you haven't noticed, I'm a big fan of extracting information. So what I mean by that is once you've extracted all the necessary information from your prospect, then you now know the most effective action plan or strategy to direct your prospect in the right direction. So based upon their current situation, combined with where they have been or tried in the past, you are in a stronger position to recommend an action plan to help guide your prospect in the right direction to achieve success in the next 3 to 6 months. So hiring you as a matchmaker may not be the best recommendation. So you may need to transform your company to provide a variety of different options aside from what you're currently providing. So this is where things get really interesting for me. And this is what I really learned, just taking that few steps back and getting back to basics. Next slide, please. So everybody offers matchmaking, or a majority of people at this conference offer matchmaking, right? So maybe you should divide your matchmaking into 2 divisions. Maybe you should have a VIP division. So a VIP matchmaking division. So very exclusive high-end matchmaking, only work with you as a top VIP matchmaker. So, or you can refer them to a VIP matchmaker and make a 20% commission. So if you can't provide the service that you think is best for that person, then you should refer them to that other matchmaker. Next slide. Right? So maybe you have the VIP division and then you created a standard division. So someone that I was working with, has assistants that helps. So maybe making those assistants a matchmaker, and they can run your standard division. So you can promote them, right? Or you can hire a matchmaker. So once you promote this person, you now become the VIP matchmaker and you've now created a standard division matchmaking division. So this works with the matchmaker that you trained. If you don't have that, then maybe you're only a VIP matchmaker and you can refer, and when I say a standard division, I use that term loosely. It's like a $5,000, $6,000 price point, versus a VIP matchmaker might be $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $100,000, right? So you want to create options for yourself and for the person that's on the phone, because guess what? You can increase your business without taking on more clients. If you refer someone to a VIP matchmaker, or maybe you're a VIP matchmaker and your price point's really high and you refer them to another matchmaker, then you're making 20% of that sale and you have zero liability and you don't have to do any other additional work for that client, yet you're making a decent amount of revenue. Next slide. So maybe that person that just came out of that 15-year marriage isn't ready for a long-term relationship. And maybe you're a matchmaking company, you're not a dating company, but really at the end of the day, you can still help somebody by creating a dating division within your organization. So maybe they're just looking to date right now. You can provide them with getting them back out there, So you can provide them with getting them dates. So actually, this might be a great thing for you, because then you don't have that stress and that obligation that you feel to get somebody into a long-term relationship. You can also explain to everybody that they're meeting, they just came out of a 15-year marriage. I'm not necessarily sure they're ready for a relationship, but hey, I think you'll really like them. Let's see where it goes, right? So there's less pressure on you as well when you position just getting them dates versus, matching them for a long-term relationship or marriage. And if you don't do that, refer them to a dating company. Professional online takeover. Maybe the person that you just that contacted you is out of a 15-year marriage and they just want to start dating again, but you don't want to just get dates for people. Maybe you should either, create a professional online takeover where you'll personally search for the perfect match by utilizing online dating sites or find the matches. This includes searching, selecting and communicating with people for them. And then you just present them, they just show up for their date. So Erica's fantastic at this. So she has a company where she does this, right? There's a ton of companies that are out there that you can partner with to offer this to your clients. And again, it's for the 20% commission or create it for your own business. So you're just creating opportunities for yourself. The other thing that I really want to stress with all of this, with what I'm talking about, is not everybody's going to pay you $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $100,000 for matchmaking. Maybe somebody contacting you because they only have $1,500 to spend, Do you just hang up the phone and say, yeah, I'm not 1,500, I'm 5,000. Sorry, I can't help you, and hang up? Or do you refer them to someone who will take them for 1,500? Or do you create an opportunity for yourself to make that $1,500 by creating an online dating profile assessment and restructuring the current online dating accounts? So maybe do the photo assessment, rewrite the bio, give them advice on how to search and how to select more efficiently. So, or refer them to someone. Next slide. So if you notice, everything's getting kind of less expensive the further we go, right? So one-on-one dating coaching package. So a high-end personalized dating coaching package that helps to prepare and position your prospect to just meet someone on a date, to date, or meet someone to pursue a long-term relationship with, or refer them to a dating coach. So you can start creating dating coaching packages. A lot of matchmakers don't have dating coaching packages. Maybe it's time you create one to create more opportunity to increase your revenue. Group coaching package. So sometimes Maria does this fantastic group coaching. There's 10 women. It's only for women. It's $545. It's amazing. It has an incredible success rate. 60% of the women that go through Maria's group coaching package, coaching session, actually contact us back and say, hey, I actually met somebody because of your group coaching session. It's really amazing. So maybe if you start offering this, again, this is for someone who says, really can't afford to hire a matchmaker right now. I really don't have, $1,500 to have you help me search, with the online dating. So you always have somewhere to go. Next slide, please. Or send them to Maria. I'm sure she'll send you a kickback. A paid assessment call. Schedule them for an in-depth 1-hour assessment call that discusses, where they've been, what they're currently doing to meet someone, and the action plan to create an action plan for them to by the end of the call, which will allow them to achieve success on their own. I know a lot of you, I know Julie charges for consultations, right? And I think that's great for a lot of people, but some people it's free. I'm a big fan of the initial call. The initial consultation is free. But if you want to charge for consultation, you can make it a 2-step process. You can make the initial call free just to kind of get an overview of them and who they are and what they're about. And then you can say, I'd like to schedule you for, a more formal assessment call where we can create an action plan for you. It's $350. Or maybe by the end of your call, they can't afford matchmaking, they can't afford dating coaching, they can't afford a professional online takeover. So maybe by the end of the call, you can say, tell you what, why don't we schedule, it's $350 and I will sit with you for an hour. And by the end of that call, I'm going to create an action plan for you. Again, you're just creating opportunity for yourself with every single incoming lead. So maximizing on every possible sales opportunity. So it's also important to sell against each of the new products or services that you are offering. So if you feel that offering a new prospective client a $25,000 VIP matchmaking contract is something that is not in the best interest of your prospect, then you're now able to sell them against the VIP option. So as much as I'd love for you to hire me as a VIP matchmaker and pay $25,000 fee, I really don't believe that you need that right now. I believe that working within our standard division is what's best for you. Next slide. So sell against other products and services. As much as I'd love to have you as a matchmaking client, I actually believe that a professional online takeover is what is best position is what will best position you for success. Sorry, you can just come out. You just came out of a 15-year marriage, and based upon our conversation, it sounds like you need to slowly get back out there and start dating again before you just head right into another long-term relationship. Doing this also gives you instant credibility because each person that you speak with is now truly believes that you have them and their needs in your best interest. So you're not just trying to sell them the most expensive thing that you have. And also when you have a variety of products like this, and you're doing what's best for them, it's genuine. You really come across as really trying to help them. And that's what I think is the most important aspect or element with all of this, is not just trying to sell someone something they don't need. You're really doing what's best for them, which is keeping our industry ethically sound. So sometimes we try to hard sell our incoming lead prospects, and it may come across as though we only want to make a sale, not really do our best to help each person that is coming to us for help. So that's where, we'll go over all this, with the Global Love Institute Masterclass. It will help you and assist you with implementing all these things. So the best business practices to expand the different ways to effectively improve your initial intake process or initial conversations with new leads to position them to move forward with your company. It's also, or the best business practices to restructure your company to expand on the different ways to effectively implement additional products or services to maximize every possible sales opportunity. Or you can just take what you learned here today and try to implement it in some way so that every single person or every single lead that comes to you, you're now in a position to sell them something, which I think is the point of all this, to increase your revenue without taking on additional stress by selling someone a huge matchmaking contract that maybe they don't need. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Louie. We do have one question. How do we prevent people who utilize a free consultation as a means to hit on a matchmaker or to just waste our time?
People are booking consultations to hit on you. That's really awesome. That's congratulations. That says a lot about you, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know about you, but I can tell if somebody's wasting my time. You know, so I don't spend a lot of my time, energy, or effort on those individuals. At the same time, I have to say that it's somewhat of a challenge for me when someone calls me just to try to like pick my brain or extract information from me. Um, so I do sometimes spend a lot of time with those people, even though I shouldn't, but it's only because I'm just curious why they would take the time to spend so much time, energy, and effort to just waste my time, right? So, but at the end of the day, I can tell you that I have turned around a lot of people who called in just for general information or just like they're tire kicking. And we have, you know, I have booked them with Maria for a group coaching intensive, or we have pushed them into the dating refresh program. You know, so at Agape, yes, it's, you know, $25,000 to $200,000 for a matchmaking contract. But at the same time, if a woman comes through, we don't sell women, we only sell men. So we had to create opportunities and restructure the business, or Maria did, to make sure that we maximize on every possible sales opportunity, which means now we can sell women a dating refresh program for $7,900. Or a group coaching intensive for $545. So I have somewhere to go now. And that's kind of the point of all this is you need to create places for you to go within your organization rather than just offering just straight matchmaking, because that's not really going to cut it anymore in today's day and age, I think.
We had another question, which is if you had mentioned not having time-based packages. So if not time-based, what is the contract term and what qualifies the ending?
I don't think that I mentioned non-time-based packages. I know some people offer non-time-based packages, or I hate to use the word package. I don't know why I keep saying it. Contracts. But ultimately, I mean, I'm a big fan of like 6 months. That's what I do with every client. You know, I don't think that like, and it's actually a selling point. I tell people, if this doesn't work for you within six months, you know, I'd rather know within 6 months than have you be in a 1-year contract, you know, and 6 months in, you're like, I can tell this didn't work for me. And, you know, you're tied into a 1-year contract. So people actually like that. And then from 6 months, I've actually gone to a 3-month, let's try it for 3 months, and you can reduce the fee. That's something else I want to tell you guys. I'm not a big fan of discounting. It used to be, you know, Julie touched on this earlier, you know, if you buy today, you get this great price. Tomorrow it's going to be doubled, or it's going to be more expensive. You know, so I'm not a big fan of that stuff anymore. You know, and it used to be the world that I came from. You know, we had 20 locations and 1,000 clients in each one of those locations. So 20,000 active clients. You know, running a national company like that, you have $300,000 in overhead each month. So those of you that want to grow national, you're going to increase your overhead as well. Sorry, my dog's back there. You know, so that's something, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. That's why a lot of these big companies didn't work, because when the economy slows down and people stop spending money, you still have $300,000 in overhead every month. And if you're not bringing in $500,000 in sales each month, which is what we were doing, then, you know, you're going to fall. Anyway.
We have another question. Can you provide an explanation of the 20% commission? Is it 20% of the package of the VIP that you were referring to that you receive, or is it 20% of your package who is referring them?
Well, basically, like, for example, we refer a lot of people to Lisa Clampett. So, you know, Lisa, I know if she's going to take a woman, it's going to be $50,000, and she's got to be, you know, I know Lisa's parameters. So if I'm going to send Lisa someone, she's going to be in decent shape, successful, accomplished, and I'm going to price prep her. So I never just refer someone to someone. I'm always going to make sure that I say something like, Lisa Clampett is the top, you know, Fifth Avenue, New York City matchmaker. She takes a very few select number of clients, and her fee is $50,000. I'm not going to send you to her unless you know that this is what it's going to cost. So I'm going to price prep everybody who I'm speaking to, depending on who I'm sending them to, right? So like Maria's done a fantastic job of introducing me to all the different New York matchmakers. She flew me in. We actually visited with them. So now I have a really good understanding and a good sense about what everybody's offering, what they're doing, and what their price points are. So if we can't take someone, I know who to send them to based upon what the needs of this client is. We typically will get 20%. So if we sent someone to Lisa for $50,000, she's going to send us a check for $10,000. So it's 20% of what they actually bought with who you sent them to. So I guess you just need to have establish those relationships. It's so important. We have to collaborate with each other. What Lisa's talking about and what Julie's talking about and what Maria's talking about this collaboration, it's so important. Now, everyone's going to run their own business, of course. You want to run your own business, you want to make your own money. But at the end of the day, they're not competitors. We're all not competitors with each other. We're all here to help, really lonely people that really desire a relationship to meet someone. We're here to help them achieve that. So, it's a tough industry because ethically, there's a very fine line between selling everybody that contacts us and doing what's best for them. And I think that we have enough people now in this industry, from the looks of all these amazing people that are on this at this conference, to benefit everyone that contacts us. And if we can't help them, somebody here can. So I love that, Lisa, you're connecting everyone together. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Louie. And the Alliance and the Institute are putting together collaborative guidelines, exactly the questions that you guys are asking, which is it 20% on the whole? How much do I pay for a match and all that? So Maria and I are brainstorming and putting together a document that we're going to share that I think will be incredibly helpful for industry standards. And I love the idea of growing your business without necessarily having to service everyone through the referrals. I think that that's key. And also being able to help people even when they're not in your price point is really helpful to your reputation. So those points were really great, Louie, and thank you so much for that. Those of you who are interested in learning more about the master class, please contact Corey. And we are actually, Patti is on deck. Julie, would you like to, the amazing Patti Stanger, who, those of you who don't know, I was Patti's East Coast director back in 2000. So she sort of got me, it was my second matchmaking job. So I've known Patti for, what is that, 21 years now. So we're so excited to have her speak today. Julie, do you want to do a formal introduction from the...
Sure. I want to say thank you to Patti Stanger. Am I on, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
I want to say thank you to Patti, because so many people in the world today know about matchmaking because they loved your show. So Patti is the gal behind Millionaire Matchmaker, and she is the first person that I know of who really did begin the process of inventorying lots and lots and lots of wonderful candidates for her clients. She was ahead of the curve and came from the world of Great Expectations all these years ago. So she's the CEO of Millionaires Club Matchmaking. She's a best-selling author, TV producer, and booking for private one-on-one coaching calls. Wow, she's still doing that. I can't believe it. She's the third generation matchmaker. So you've probably seen the Bravo TV show, The Millionaire Matchmaker. It's aired in over 200 countries, and it's the highest repeated show on Comcast networks. So also she wrote a great book that I loved, and I was surprised that she wrote it, Become Your Own Matchmaker. Again, one of those things where I thought, well, gosh, maybe she's going to be, people won't need us. They'll do it on their own. But she teaches people how to do it. Not everybody is going to hire a matchmaker. I thought it was a brilliant book. Other titles include Raise Your Desirability Factor, Seal the Deal, and Find Your Match. So she's been a featured columnist in People and Star Magazine. She's been the face of the Sensa Diet, 1-800-Flowers, and she's the owner of Taiku Sake, the things I didn't know about you, Patti, and PS Match Wines. So she's branched out into television acting with feature roles on Drop Dead Diva and Days of Our Lives. And most recently, she's been executive producing scripted television projects with the hit Hallmark Channel series Matchmaker Mysteries. We're so excited to have you here. Patti Stanger, take it away.
Hi guys, how are you? Thanks, Julie. God, that was pretty amazing. And Lisa, yes, you started this trend with me where when we first started doing the millionaire matchmaker business, we were the first, and then everybody copied us. But in the original days, they all thought I was a madam like Heidi Fleiss. What they didn't realize was we were still in the relationship business, and I made sure all my ads said relationship minded only. So I didn't get those seeking arrangements or sugar daddy people. But I guess Lisa asked me to talk today about a couple things. So first, before we get started and I talk about lead generation and I talk about reality TV, I want to get some things out of the way. The first thing is, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, which is the Personal Love Connections group on Facebook for all matchmakers, please join now. This is critical that we all get to know each other. There's not a lot of matchmakers in the world. They think we're a dying breed because of the apps, but what they don't realize now, it's going to change. Everything's going to change. They're coming back to matchmaking because the apps are not finding them love. Remember, it's very exhausting to go on those apps. And even though it's free, they don't really care whether you find love or not. They don't really give a damn about your process. You're spending hours and hours on the internet, and there's different price points for different matchmakers. Yes, I'm a high-end matchmaker, but there's plenty of girls out there, selling $1,000 to $2,000 packages. They need to understand that we're never going to be outsourced. Matchmaking is as old as time. It's probably since the beginning of the prehistoric era, where the head of the clan basically fixed up the survival of the fittest of the two best people, species, male, female, put them together so that they could procreate. So it's not going to go away. It's just going to be an evolutionary process. I am working with the app industry right now. I'm trying to get them to hire us. I have a call with Talkify. I just had a call with S'more, which is a new app, which is like a Love is Blind app. It's kind of like you don't see the person. And I'm talking to the Meet group. Hopefully gonna have a call with Bumble. I'm trying to get them to hire us for people that are discouraged about matchmaking, which would give us better lead generation. It is a thing that they had done before with Match.com with 3-day rule. I don't know if those guys are on here today, but it went away. They didn't do it right. And the secret sauce is to really have a matchmaker who knows your inventory, who knows your database, and knows how to fix you up. And the problem is most of these people think we're competitive to them. They don't realize that we're taking them to the next level. We work with Millionaire Match, Eric and I, who run my company, and we've sold quite a bit of their people who want personal attention. So there's a lot of people out there that want personal attention. They're getting frustrated. So don't get discouraged that we're going away. We will be growing, especially after the pandemic is over. So let's get that out of the way. So join the Face group. Giving my notes that Lisa gave me. The second is, if you have a contract and it's not working, you think you're going to get sued, okay? You think that this person was way out of your league, you shouldn't have taken them, they're a problem child, you can bring them to Millionaires Club, you can bring them to another company. We take on the hardest clients and we will take over your contract, but they have to pay us, okay, again, but we'll substitute the time, subtract the time, prorate the time that they basically had left on your contract. We have a lot of people calling us. They're afraid they're going to get sued. This is a big thing, especially if you've taken a female. So Sync is my partner. They take the female high-end clients on. I take the men, and I also take gay men. I haven't had a lesbian. I haven't had a trans person, but we are open to diversity in the community. We're really into that right now. And we feel that that will grow in the future as it gets out there into the ethers. Like people are, kids are coming up, pansexual, fluid. You're going to have to realize there's going to be a whole change in the marketplace in the future, that our typical client is not going to be our typical client. Demi Lovato came out today and said she's a lesbian. Okay, if anybody wants to know, she said the pandemic taught her what her sexuality is. So you're going to get a lot of people to come to you, go, I'm fluid. What do I do with that? And a lot of us don't have experience in that area. Send it to us. And Sync is doing an amazing job on the women, just like Lisa is. So Lisa and Sync do the women. A lot of them are suers. They're very, very difficult. You must be very careful when you take on a female client. You must know that you have clients for them. You can't go outside and recruit. If you go outside and recruit and they don't like what you give them, if you not send them the pictures, if you not send them the profiles, they will sue, even if it's $1.99. Just know, men don't do that. Men are discreet. They don't want anyone knowing their business. So be careful when you take on those female clients. Okay, let me see what else I got on my notes. These are like things I'm going to get out of the way before I talk about my main subject. So traffic. A lot of you don't have traffic to the sites. We are working, Erica and I, as Lisa is too. We've been talking about the CRM that Lisa's creating for lead generation. This is huge business for us. You get on the system, you set it up, the leads come to you. We need to continue to pass the leads along. If you get a lead and it's not right for you, I just had a Toronto lead the other day. I called Lisa immediately. Who do I send it to? I spoke to Carmela. Carmela may or may not be able to take this client on because she doesn't have people in the database right now, but she's a big recruiter. So I have to teach the client that Carmela is a specialist. So you have to talk to them. Like, you can't just give the lead to someone. You got to give a little bit of a pitch before you do that, because you want that person to take on that lead, and you want to get industry standard of 20% back if it's at a certain level. Sometimes it's 10 if it's like a $5,000 and under. So make sure that you're passing those leads that fall through the cracks onto other people. A second voice on the phone, which is, Julie and I know this from Great Expectations. We'd make an appointment, nobody would come in, they'd put a second voice on the phone, and that person shows the fuck up, because you don't know if that person's going to respond to you or somebody else. So don't let that money sit on the floor. Little bit adds up to a long way at the end of the year. It pays your taxes. Okay, let's make sure we get on that system and we pass the leads along. But lead generation, I'm trying to find us a traffic company that will work with us for leads on dating. They do this for the apps and they do this for the big websites. Why not do it for us? So we're working, we'll get to that a little bit later down the road when we get our contract set up. But I spoke to one company, wasn't a fan, and now I'm speaking to someone who's in matchmaking who knows how to do the big apps and the big websites. Okay. So that's basically my point of view for now. I'm going to go and talk about reality TV because I know that's what everybody wants me to talk about. So I came into the business, I don't know, about 15 years ago, I'd say, and there were no matchmakers on the air. Really wasn't. And they had tried looking for someone like me who had this kind of business because it was very topical at the time. Apps were not up yet. It was Match.com was the only one up, and maybe JDate. And so when I got out on the ethers and I showed them what we did, the inner workings of the business blew up. The reality TV show blew up. We became the highest repeated show on the air in Comcast networks, as well as NBC. And I was on the map. And I was one of the Bravo early people, like we call them original gangsters on Bravo. I'm an OG. And what was really interesting is like people started to come to the matchmakers because they didn't know we existed. They really only knew about a few of us. There's Kelleher, there's Barbie came and changes her company to that. And there was just a few people in the business that we would know by name. When this happened, everybody started getting leads. And all these girls wanted to be matchmakers. The two sisters from, I think it's called Dating in the City in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, they came to LA because they said they wanted to be me. And they asked their mother for some money and she gave them some, and then now they have a business. It's critical that you just don't open a business that you're certified by the Institute. If you haven't got training, I don't recommend you throwing it up in the world and going, oh, I'm a matchmaker. No, you're not. You're not. You need training to learn how to match someone. You need training to learn how to do a business. You need training for legal reasons. I mean, a lot of people think there's something and they're not. Look at the YouTube stars and the TikTok stars. A lot of them would end up on television at this point. They're not that talented. So I want you all to get certified. I want Lisa to train you or one of her staff if you haven't done it. And I want to make sure that you're in the matchmaker system, because if you're a certified matchmaker, people are more likely to buy from you than a non-certified. You will learn how to get less lawsuits. Lawsuits are abundant in our business. You can Google anybody and you can see like Janice Bindel was sued for $4 million. You don't want to be that person at the end of the day. And Lisa teaches you how to sidestep. I've got to say that Lisa's one of the best matchmakers in the business. She knows her shit, okay? And you need to be trained by her staff. So reality TV's on the map. I'm on the map. The Bachelor's on the map. Love is on the map. But then there was this period, this dark period, where people stopped using us. They thought, oh, I'm going to yell at you. Or there's an app for that, which was Tinder. Tinder changed the game. When people got on Tinder, they're like, I don't need you. I'm going to use my secretary. She's going to go online and she's going to research. The business fell in the toilet. I talked to everyone in LTR from Mark Brooks on down. I was like, we need to do an app. We need to do a Matchmakers app. I was like yelling at everyone. Nobody was listening. And then Whitney comes along with Bumble. And she says, girls make the first move, and she becomes a billionaire. Well, at the same time, we get Love Island, Love is Blind, which is my favorite show on Netflix. And everybody wants a love show. Every single network's calling for a matchmaker. Some failed, some succeeded. The Indian Matchmaker did very well on Netflix. So we are on the map. Let's just put it this way. Nobody holds a candle to us. I'm about to do an Indian matchmaking show in India where the matchmaker in India is going to take them to marriage, and I'm executive producing, and we're going to take millionaire matchmaker around the world. We're in talks right now. I'm looking for matchmakers that have a niche in the market, especially African-American. If you are African-American and you want a TV show, contact me, DM me at Patti Stanger on Instagram. This is the #1 thing they want, a true matchmaker, not a fake one. If you're a date coach, a relationship expert, and you're talking, to various different networks, don't think that everybody's going to just run out and give you a TV show. Every production company says, oh, you're a slam dunk, going to give you a sizzle, going to give you a pilot. It's bullshit. They will shelve you at some point if you don't make the grade in the focus group. So if you have a contract right now with the TV show, I know a lot of the Mormon matchmakers in Utah did, and they got screwed. I told them they would. The girls from Beverly Hills got screwed. Contact me, let me mentor you. I can either executive produce, put my name on it if the network wants, which gets my audience, or #2, I can mentor you so your contract doesn't get screwed. So I will give you an example. Lisa sent me a little person's matchmaker, and she's fabulous, but she didn't listen to me. And when she did the contract, even though I was executive producing the show, you'll see that on Little Women Atlanta. Kinetics, the production company, they do Married at First Sight, and they also do all the Little Women shows and Love is Blind. So got the contract going, got her the attorney, but she didn't listen to the attorney. She signed the contract. She's basically screwed. She can't work anywhere else. She didn't learn what I told her to do. Now, I love her to death. She apologized profusely. I'm her executive producer, so I'm going to protect her. And we are going to spin that show probably off on Lifetime. We air on Atlanta, Little Women Atlanta in July, which will give a taste of what's to come. We do well, it'll spin off. So you don't want to just take any production company that calls you and go, hey, I saw you on the news, I'm going to give you a TV show. That doesn't mean the network is buying you. There's a whole different ball of wax. And that just means some rinky-dinky production company. If there's somebody that's not credible, doesn't have at least 10 shows on the air that you can recognize, that's not a good company 9 times out of 10. So everybody's getting calls and they don't know what to do with the calls. You can contact me. I will mentor you on that. I will make sure you don't get screwed. What they're looking for in the networks are people that have unusual type of matchmaking. Maybe they do gay dating. Maybe they do, dogs are us, vegans are us, something that is niche, not just I'm a matchmaker. Are you beautiful? They like looks. They're young girls. They're looking in the 30s and 40s right now. They want to know you have a little wisdom, but you're not 10. They also are looking for matchmakers in college, especially ones that are like maybe I'd say, I don't know, about 18 to 22, that demographic. And maybe you have something tech savvy. Maybe you have an app or you're creating an app. Like Samore is doing something with TLC. So basically they're looking for somebody that has a story, that has a staff. It can be like Vanderpump Rules meets matchmaking. 5, 6 girls work at your company. You've got a guy, you've got a girl, and they're all crazy characters. I sold, it didn't do as well as I would have liked, but I sold a Chicago show called Love Blows with Lisa in Chicago. She had a family of matchmakers. I think it was on the wrong network because it was a really good show. Sally and Salerno did it, who did Jersey Shore. But, sometimes you're on the wrong network. Owen is looking for Black matchmakers. Oprah always looks for them. She loves that department. I would say TLC, A&E, which is, Lifetime, and Bravo is on the teeter-tot right now. They're not sure they want to do matchmaking anymore, but Peacock may. And I'd say HBO Max would be good, and also Amazon. Amazon's probably looking big time. And Netflix is doing well with matchmaking, so they're going to expand on that. So you have to have something extra special. It's your staff, it's your story. It's somebody that, we want to watch, like that Selling Sunset kind of type of show, like Adam DeVello did. If you watch that show, he also did The Hills, The City, and Laguna Beach. But it has to be something that's special about you. You can't just roll out and go, I'm a matchmaker. You're gonna have something with you that makes you, want to be glued to the screen. I think also that a lot of people think it's easy to do this. It's not. It's very hard. You'll be on a roller coaster ride. One network will want you. They'll cancel you after 4 or 5 months. Another network will pick you up. You have to be detached. It's just like makeup. You know how you get attached to that lipstick or that eyeliner and then they discontinue it? Well, TV is exactly like that. The only good news is that we have streamers coming out left and right, like Disney, Hulu, and all these places that you wouldn't think. Paramount just opened one. So the more streamers that come out, the more unscripted is going to go through the roof. And because Love is testing, that elimination type of program, the docu-soap like Vanderpump, or the rap show like mine, which is Case of the Week, they're going to be looking. So they're looking for people like that. As we age, they're going to want more inclusivity. So they're going to want diversity, absolutely. They're going to want sexual inclusivity, which means pansexual, fluid, etc. And as we age, the younger generation thinks of love very differently than we do. They hook up, they don't have, they don't have monogamy. And they basically are in a place of like, let's try it, let's see how it goes. We're in a more place of like, we want to get you married. Marriage might go away at some point. I believe it stays forever because I think that's what girls want. But TV might say, hey, we're doing a polyamorous show, which was on Showtime. They're looking for things like that. Maybe there's a poly matchmaker. That'd be an interesting show, by the way, FYI. Not that I agree with that, but it could be cultural, like Jewish Orthodox. We saw Unorthodox. They're making an unscripted show of that right now by, I think Netflix just announced it yesterday. So maybe you're a Jewish Orthodox, maybe you're Mormon, maybe you're Muslim. Whatever your shtick is, you got to exemplify it. And that's what's going to get you a show, basically. Lisa, should I take questions, by the way? Because I feel like we should take some questions.
Yeah, so there are a couple of people. One person was asking, if you're looking for an intern, how do they reach out to you? Because I know one of the key things, and the reason that I thought it'd be interesting for Patti to speak is Patti's always like, hey, I need this type of matchmaker or that type of matchmaker. Why not send Patti your information so when she's casting a show, she can reach out to you guys? And so that's one of the things that I thought would be really helpful. They send their info just directly to you.
Just DM me because my assistant Nathan is organizing the DMs. Go to Patti Stanger at Instagram. State your case. Don't give me a novel. Just get to the point. Put your telephone number in there, and we will look at your Instagram and we will look at you, and then I'll tell you where to go. I'm going to direct you either way. If you've got a TV show right now and you're saying, "Ooh, I signed something. I can't tell anyone." No, that's not true. You can tell me and I will mentor you, okay? If I feel I need to hop on the show to get you sold, I'll do it. If I feel that I don't need to do that and I want to negotiate your money is where you'll get screwed. They think you're going to do this for $1,000 an episode. That is not industry standard. I will get you the right attorney. I will get you the right agent. I will make it so you make yourself in the right power position. But if you don't listen to me and you think you know more than me, namaste, you're going to get screwed. The Mormon matchmakers in Utah got screwed. So did the girls from, Lisa, what's that company in Beverly Hills? The two sisters, I can't think of the name.
The Conti sisters, I think, Matchmaking in the City.
They got screwed twice.
Yeah.
So every time someone calls you, don't think, oh, this is immediately, I'm just going to get a TV show. Lisa went through a whole experience where I created a TV show based on her institute, which I think now would sell more than ever. Back then, we were very early. Sometimes you're early.
I have to say, though, you were the sweetest person ever. So poor Patti, she gets me an agent, she gets me a lawyer, she flies me first class to LA, she books all of the networks that we met. And of course, because everyone who knows me knows how mortified I would ever be to have to do public speaking or TV. So as soon as I hit LA, I get laryngitis. And I'm like, I can't do it. So Patti is like feeding me like tea with honey. And she's like, this is just not meant to be. And I was like, welcome to my world. So I have to vouch. You were amazing, though.
Okay,
You
Lisa
took.
was so adorable, by the way, in the process, because we worked together before, so we know each other. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that you should know, okay? If you are not the star and you own the company, like Lisa Vanderpump, you can put one of your managers, one of your matchmakers forward to be the star of the company. You can be the backseat and check in every so often. You do not have to be the main gig. So I think that you all think like, oh my God, I could never be on camera. But what's your staff like? What are your clients like? I mean, there's a whole thing that we can create on you if you have something extra special. Some of you don't. I've had a lot of people call me and I'm like, you just don't have it. Like, I got to be honest with you. But here's the thing. Every now and then we watch somebody. I did personally like the Indian matchmaker, but I don't think she did an extra. I think she was out of her depth because they casted the show. They didn't give her anybody who gets married, and that's very rare in India. It's kind of like Jews. We get married on Orthodox religion in the Orthodox religion after 4 dates. So she was upset that she didn't get the quality clients to fix up, and she was not happy about it. And it came across on camera. So I feel like if you don't want to be that Indian matchmaker, you want to be the assistant to the Indian, but then you're the personality and you're taking over the company on camera, that's okay. The Stasi, the Jacks, you can do that. You don't have to be the center of attention. But Lisa did a great job. She came out, she learned the business. We said, let's put a pin in it. It doesn't mean it can't come back later. And we always think like we should have a Matchmakers Institute show like America's Top Model and do an elimination program, which now we probably could do it. That was very, very early days. So let's take some questions.
So another question was, do you see doing international? For sure, you already mentioned yes, but Nigeria, we've actually certified quite a few matchmakers from Nigeria. And that's a question, would that be marketable?
You know what? I don't know. That's something that depends on, like Nigeria, the country is not going to make us any money. That depends would another network like a Netflix or a streamer buy that. And that's a possibility. So if you have that, contact me. Let me do some research on that and I'll get back to you because that's on 100% no. I have to.
So I think the key is though, guys, what I would do is Patti will keep a Rolodex of all of you guys. So if you're interested, send her, ping her information. Nathan will sort of get your information. And if there's anything there to be had, they could be creative about it and contact you. One of the questions is that how much do you charge for mentoring? And, is that a service you provide?
We usually do $10,000 for mentoring, and I don't know how many hours is it, Nathan? It's like, do you remember how many hours? We have to look it up, but it's $10,000 flat fee for mentoring. You get X amount of phone calls and video calls, and I do work with you and mentor you. I go over your pricing structure to see if you're wrong. I look at your website. I then basically will refer you people like clients and things if I feel like you're appropriate and ready to go. I also tell you, like, we role play a lot. A lot of times it's the phone call and the pitch. Now, if you're just emailing a potential client, you're screwed. If you're just texting them, you're screwed. You must do the triple play is what I call it. You start with a phone call, you lead to text, and then when you're sending the packages, you send the email. Most people will not get on the phone. We have a big problem with this. If a lead comes in, you wait, you hesitate. Oh, I don't work Saturdays and Sundays. I'm going to call in a Monday when it came in a Friday. Are you crazy? There are 5 million matchmakers out there. They're going to call somebody else when they're jonesing for love. Whether it's a guy and he's got swing or a girl's getting juicy goosey, they don't want to think about anything else but finding me love. And if they've got bank and money and they're qualified, you can't hesitate. You're going to lose that lead. It's just simple. Look, anytime you Google any matchmaker, Kelleher comes up. We all know, we think they're the giant. They have a lot of lawsuits. They have a lot of unhappy people. We get them. And the problem is the first time they go to Google and they put it in, I have a problem right now where I'm debating to sue Google or not. For 20 years, Lisa knows my problem and I have not done it. People have been using Millionaire Matchmaker to get leads. Please do not do this because I might sue you if you do it. I'm in the middle of suing a couple of matchmakers who refuse the cease and desist and are using my trademark. And when the person clicks on Millionaire Matchmaker, it goes to them because they put the sponsored link and the pay-per-click, and fucking Google's not doing anything. We send them a million letters. So you don't want anyone stealing your trademark. You don't want anyone stealing your TM. It's very dangerous to do that. Someone will come along one day and say, how much money did you make on this? They can actually track back Google, and then they can sue you for that amount plus triple amount for damages. You don't want to go there. So the problem right now is that when I mentor you, I'm taking a look at your business. I'm looking at how much money did you make this year? How much money are you increasing by? What is your problem with your clients? Did you not fix them up? Are you ignoring them? Like if you're in a date package of 6 dates, like New York has for 6 months, and Lisa's really good at it. She gives the people, she gets them right out of the way. And you wait 3 months to give that first date, okay? And that date is bad. She waited, he waited 3 months. They will sue you. You now only have 5 dates left. And if you don't replace that and you're not doing unlimited, they're going to come after you, especially if it's a woman. They're going to be like, you didn't give me what I want. If you don't show pictures at the top of the hour and you just go, we have great men, they're fantastic, and then you don't show them what they're getting, they're going to be like, this is not what you told me. Okay. And you don't want to win in court. Now there's a big case going on in Denver with It's Just Lunch. Everyone needs to pay attention to this case. It's probably going to be a landmark case. They're being sued for $3,500 plus damages because It's Just Lunch wouldn't give the money back and didn't give the dates. Now that's $3,500. This is It's Just Lunch. It's a corporation. It's like Great Expectations. What moron let this fall to lawsuit, didn't quiet it down, didn't give the money back, make a deal, transfer the membership to a family member, do something and let it go viral that we're all paying attention to this right now. You have to be crazy as crack for $3,500 to lose your business over and the reputation. That's nonsense. There are crazy clients that will sue and it's not your fault. They're nightmares. Okay, Lisa and I know all about them. They come in, they're pain in the asses, they're incredibly nasty. They want this like yesterday, and their demands are, their expectations are out of whack. Don't take them on as a client. We have a thing called the DNR list, do not renew. If they were the client originally, we don't renew them again. We don't refer them out unless we feel someone really can handle this difficult client. You take that client on. I don't know if Buffy's on the system today, but she has one in South Carolina, a problem client. And when she was taking him on, I said, don't take him. I got a bad feeling about this. And he turned out to be a problem client. So you make sure you don't do this because your business will be open and closed in a day. Everything is on the internet. Everything can get in the press. We are in cancel fucking culture. You don't want to be canceled for some stupid idiot that was ungrateful. Plenty of people get married in our business and then they sue. I only got 1 date and it was unlimited. We had this at Great Expectations all the time. And unfortunately, the client would win, especially if they used Amex. Now, I'm not a fan of using credit cards. So I will work with you on a payment system. We have PayPal now, we have Venmo. I don't believe in credit cards because once they meet the person, they can charge it back to the credit card and they can say, we weren't happy with the service and Amex will take the credit holder. So I'm a fan of wire transfer or get out of the way. You pay me up front. That's my rules and regulations. You can't afford this. You're not my client. You want to do payments? You risk. Every time you do payments, let's say they give you 3 payments in a year, and every 4 months they're giving you money. At the 5th month, they fall in love. They'll stop the payments. So you have to be careful about that too. And then I go into like, how do we build this business? What are the upsells? Can you do date coaching and relationship counseling? Can you do mentoring, like, once a week to other matchmakers or business associates? Like I do a lot of business mentoring and a lot of business counseling. A lot of people come in and say, how do I get a TV show? How do I open a matchmaking club? And they want me to figure out their problems. But there's upsells. One of the upsells right now is an app. Everybody's like, how do we take matchmaking and an app, merge the 2 streets together so we get more mass of people internationally, just not the United States? And we're talking about this now. Lisa and I have been discussing that. Where is the next play that we can be the next Bumble, but still help people and not do swipe left and swipe right where they're not getting love? Because that's what's happening. All they care about is the super likes, the boosts, the ads. They're not really caring about whether or not people find love. So we're talking about the technology. As the technology changes, there has to be a way where the two streets merge. And I'm working on talking to various app owners and saying, we need to take your VIPs to the next level, basically.
We have another question, which is to the show, which is Tony out of Denver is saying that LGBTQ community shows haven't taken off. And is that something that you're looking at?
Yes. Logo had one, which was kind of like The Bachelor. And Nathan, do you remember the name of that show? Finding Prince Charming. My assistant is gay, and I have a lot of gay people in my company. I want to help the LGBTQPI community. See, we have another word there. And I also want to help trans. I'm trying to see, when you're trans, if you change your sexuality, doesn't mean you're going for the opposite sex. Nobody gets that. You could actually do the same sex, like Caitlyn Jenner. So we're in a place right now where I'm trying to open that community up and find people that will date them. And it's really delicate. I'm not trans. I don't want to say I am. I'm thinking of hiring somebody in that area. I was talking to Eric about it the other day because they come to me and they're lonely. And I'm like, damn it. We also feel like the pansexual, the fluid, the bisexual, all that is going to change the way we match, because as they age up, those 20 somethings and get into their 30s and they get a little money, and a lot of them are tech stars, they have the money. You can't just say, I'm going to give you opposite sex. It's not going to work anymore. Some people are poly. I just had a big Instagram podcast with Gigi from Shaza Sunset, and she wants to be poly and she wants me to fix her up. And I don't do poly. I'm not an expert on poly. So I was like, who do I call? I was going to call Lisa and say, we have a poly matchmaker, because I don't really know what to do right now. Five of the celebrities of Bravo have called me. Let's talk about this for a second, and then I'll get back to more questions. So in New York, Dorinda called me, Ebony Williams, Leah McSweeney, who was on my show, I actually just fixed her up, Eden Sassoon, Luann, and Sonia. They all have called me to fix them up. New York is all single right now. And I said, you know, Lisa, we should do this together because it's press. But then Lisa and I said, why don't we talk about it at the Matchmakers Institute seminar, because you guys might know someone to fix them up with, and I can give you what they're looking for. Now, this is free. We're not getting paid. This is for press to get on page 6 to blow your business up. Remember, this stuff gets you press. You don't always have to hire a publicist because you're going to be bored. When a publicist comes in, he's bored with you as a story. He needs to know what's the angle, you know? Why should I call Life and Style? Why should I call Us Weekly? Like People, what is it? What's in it? Fixing up celebrities is a huge thing which will get you press. And you have to do it free, unfortunately. They're not going to pay you. Okay?
And then is there a minimum income barrier for you to consider someone for a TV show? You don't care about how successful of a financial matchmaker.
No, because our little matchmaker,
Jessica,
Jessica, upon birthday, she pretty much just started. She had just gotten certified by Lisa. You know, I mentored her a little bit, but I have to tell you, she was brand new. She was a little person. She had fixed people up. She was bisexual. It's a very unusual story. She works with her ex-husband in her company, and her daughter's adorable. And she basically is doing something that's never been heard of. There is no little matchmaker, unfortunately. So
I know it's so funny. Patty's been asking me for a little matchmaker for years. And then Rachel Russo and I did a certification training in London a couple years ago. And Jessica came and I was like, oh my God, Jessica, do I have an introduction for you? And sure enough, you just never know. You never know what the niche is.
What the secret sauce to all of this is that times are going to change. So pay attention to the love shows. Like The Bachelor's been around forever. That's an elimination program. Love is Blind is an unusual twist on an elimination program because they got choices. Married at First Sight, when I first saw the show, it was Queens versus, you know, New Jersey. There's a bunch of people in New Jersey, a bunch of people in Queens. I was like, this show is never going to work. I mean, they get $5,000 in 3 months, they can get divorced. And now it is a worldwide global phenomenon. If you watch Married at First Sight in Australia, they have the most gorgeous people you have ever seen in the world. And we are talking hotter than smoking hot. It's like Any Bachelor show is dog shit next to them. So now this has become a phenomenon. They're getting married, they're having babies. Who knew in Love is Blind they'd have 8 marriages? I mean, and they never saw each other. It's crazy. So there's this naked dating show that's coming back to VH1, I think. And it was an old show that didn't do well, and it's coming back because in England, what do you know the show where they only show part of the naked body and then it comes up to the top that's dating? There's a show in England. If you're in England right now, you know what I'm talking about, where they show parts of the body and then the person who wants to date them says yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then finally they're fully naked and they get their date. And it is the hottest show. It's like Naked and Dating or something, like Naked and Afraid, something like that. And it's the hottest show. We can't do that, obviously, because we have stricter restrictions. Naked Attraction is what it's called, Naked Attraction. So it's a big, big dating show. Start watching international shows. You can bring me ideas, game shows, anything. We're open. The gates are open.
Believe it or not, we got a couple people asking, what is a little matchmaker?
Oh, a little matchmaker is a little person's matchmaker for little people. So it's a little person's matchmaker. In other words, they're little and they have seminars and they have events all over the world, and they never had a matchmaker to fix the singles community. And it's not necessarily like they're going to go for another little person. They could actually go for, I don't want to call it a regular person, but a taller person.
And I think that this is kind of a repeat question, which is where to refer prospective gay matchmaking client who's perfect for a TV show.
But just go to DM me at Patti Stanger.
Yeah, so anyone who has ideas, you could DM Patti.
And I probably ask for tape on you. So if I like you, I'll say, send me a video. And then you send me a video of yourself. Make a cute little 3-minute video, and I'll know whether or not you got it or not. With your staff, whoever's involved in the show. Yeah. And don't forget, if you have a contract going on right now, or you're in negotiations, you should contact me immediately so I make sure you don't get screwed.
Corey, do you have any questions on your end?
No, it's pretty much the same. We hit charge for mentorship. If there is one, do you still think Christian matchmaking show would sell?
You're doing a Christian you want to do a Christian matchmaking show?
That was the question. Yeah. Do you think it would sell?
On the Christian network, give me the angle where if I put it on one of the country stations, I could spin it where it's, tell me, what is it going to be Christian, like the pastor's fixing you up? Because there's one on OWN like that. Give me a little bit more details on it. What would be your idea? Is it just like faith-based and the pastor is fixing you up? What is it?
So whoever asked that question, just clarify with Corey. And I have another question, which is, do you think that there's any market for shows setting up seniors?
There is, but first the Bachelor's spinning it off right now. Once that succeeds and they know that the older group, see, the problem is TV is 18 to 54 is the demo, unfortunately. There is a 25 to 54 too, which is like Hallmark, a little bit older. There could be a seniors one for Hallmark. So if you're 40s, 50s, 60s, that's Hallmark, and they are doing unscripted. And yes, there is something like that. If you're a senior matchmaker, send me your information. There could be a market for that.
Yeah, so Peggy, just reach out to Patti. And then, okay, wait, if you were to look back, is there any advice you would give to yourself to help newer matchmakers starting out?
That's a good question. I have to think on that. I think the thing that I did that was smart that most people don't do, Lisa and I disagree on this, but Lisa's now learning my way of doing things, is that I didn't get an office right away. I did eventually get an office, but I realized I didn't need it. So I don't agree with the office. Now, we're in the pandemic, and my way of doing business, Erica's way of doing business, has proven to be the norm. But when we first started, I said, I'm not going to waste money on rent. I don't know how much money I'm going to make a year. I don't know how many clients I'm going to get. And I don't really need to do that, because either if they're in person, I meet them at the restaurant, at the bar, at the hotel, or their house. Oh, by the way, when you go to someone's house, make sure you have a second person with you. We're going to meet you age. If you're a woman, take a man assistant or take another girl, but do not go to someone's house alone, FYI. That's like, matchmaking danger. Okay. FYI. So I didn't have an office, and I put all my money back in the business for ads, for staff. And I made sure that I didn't go out and buy the fancy car or the new house. I was very careful with my money, and I would recommend that to everyone. Lisa got an office right away. She loves her office. She had her charity in it. There's reasons why she got an office. I felt I didn't need one. Now, when I did get one, I got the TV show, and it was great because we used the office. But about year 4, my attorney said, you don't even use your office. Let's get rid of it and let them pay for an office. So he did it. And then I was like, I'm never getting an office again. Because now that we have FaceTime and Zoom, why do I need it? None of the clients would come to the office. They always wanted me to go to them, or they wanted a call, So Skype was really big back then. That's the one thing I think I messed up on and spent money on that I regret. The other thing that I think that I did differently is that, I was always picky choosy on the clients. That's why I didn't get sued. I was one of those people that was like, ooh, I don't feel I can take this person on next. I didn't like the nasty ones. Like you see the nasty ones in Millionaire Matchmaker, but I didn't do that in the real business because I was always afraid. Taking women on was my regret in the beginning. I am not good with women. Erica is a master. Lisa's a master, but Lisa has also a level of, you got to spend, buku bucks to be with Lisa and Erica. We felt that we were spending so much time fixing somebody up who's ungrateful that could potentially sue me. And yet I wasn't giving enough attention to my male clients and my gay clients. And the women tend to be longer in the tooth. You can't charge them more because that would be illegal, but you really have to have a lot of patience, like the patience of Job. Like my matchmaker has patience for them, like patience. Like I'm like, bye, I gotta go back to work. And it's a specialty. It's really is. I'm great with men. That's all I can tell you.
How do you turn away a client is one of the questions.
Oh, this is a good one. That's a good question. I usually say I don't have anyone in your service. I don't usually lie and say we're filled up. I just say I don't have anyone for you to date, and I don't want to take your money because I don't want to, disappoint you. But let me see if I can find, like yesterday, someone came to me that's not for me. And I said, let me see what I can do. And I was going to call Lisa later after this is over and say, well, who should I send this to? Because it wasn't for me. It was a Muslim client. I don't do Muslim matchmaking, and I wouldn't know how to do it in the first place. So I need to, if you're a Muslim matchmaker, DM me because I have a lead for you.
How can you tell if someone is on their best behavior when you meet with them and then that they have the potential to turn into a monster?
First of all, did the person buy you lunch and drinks and is sweet and kind, and or are they talking all about themselves, and they're a narcissist and they don't care about the person you're going to fix them up with, and they're bragging to the floor, and they're just super not listening to anything you say. They're difficult. You can tell they have an attitude about them. Now, that's not to say that there's not sociopaths who come off like sweet and sugary and then boom, you're like, who the fuck is this person? We all have had 1 in 100 that do that, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm.
So someone is asking if you'd consider a show if someone's already done a show.
What do you mean?
Oh, but it was not picked up. It was not picked up.
Definitely, 100%, absolutely. Okay. Because there probably was something wrong with the production company, or is bad timing, or wrong network. But if they were interested, there's something there. Yeah.
Is the advice on taking women clients only for matchmaking clients, or also date coaching clients?
Oh, no, not for date coaching. Date coaching's fine. You can stay. Actually, I would like to transfer females into date coaching. It's just, they want dates. So they go online and they're disappointed. One of the things we do in our company is we fix profiles. We have a side business where we fix your profile. We fix your pictures. We Cyrano, we go inside the account and we pretend we're you, and then we look for the right people, and then we contact them. We pay, and they pay us for that. There's packages for that.
So in terms of your agreements now with COVID, since so many people are meeting virtually, do you count that as a match?
No, we count when they have to go on a physical date, but we also make sure they get COVID testing and they sign waivers. I was the first one to get waivers. I don't trust it. We also have a waiver for referral. One of our co-matchmakers, Melody, got sued for referring me. I referred the client. I got sued through Melody, but I got dropped when my lawyer got involved. And now we have disclaimers. So if you refer someone, you both have to have the clients sign paperwork that they won't sue the referral, the person who's referring it. Yeah, you have to be careful. There's a lot of little tricky stuff that we'll teach you. But COVID, I have compliance. So they have to go on a date. We don't release the money for the commission until they're on a physical date. And our clients are pretty high profile. They got private planes. You know, in Miami, everything is open. In Texas, everything's open. They go to a restaurant outside and then they're on a date. We haven't had a problem with that, actually.
Okay. I also wanted to leave a moment, Patti, and I don't know, are you okay with me talking about what you're looking for?
Lisa!
So Patti happens to be single.
Wait, this is where the glasses come up and I become
so yeah, talk a little bit about what you're looking for. And I know that we had talked about what could be really interesting is people presenting ideas to you. And I said, like, it might make sense rather than just publicity that you actually offer like, hey, I would pay this if I actually went on a virtual date or if I went an in-person date. And I think that that kind of is a really good strategy, Patti. So why don't you talk about that?
Well, first of all, you know, I'm getting up there. I'm not going to tell you my age. So I generally only date men like in their late 40s and up. Okay. I don't really like the youngians, but they do come my way. I keep getting all these young guys hitting on me. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't want to be your mother. And so it's weird because I'm single now and I'm not a fan of the men in LA, as many women have had this issue. If you're an LA matchmaker, you know what I'm talking about. So they're not really business savvy. Like, yeah, I'll give you an example. Yesterday I got one from Hinge. And the guy was cute and he owns a startup, whatever. And he gets on the phone and he's like, so what kind of plant-based, you know, medicine have you tried? Have you been to Burning Man? I've been there 6 times. And, you know, I said, no, I have only tried mushrooms for medical reasons, for cluster headaches. But no, I don't believe in that. And I don't really like Burning Man because I don't like being trapped in a place where I'm codependent on people from food and water. Why? And it's like, you know, Surf's Up, dude. And it's like, they're all over LA like this. They're not like men that I'm used to growing up with in New York and New Jersey. They're not alphas. They're so beta. I want to go, you know? So I was ready to puke. He's like, clearly we're not a match. I'm like, clearly, best of luck in your search. So I like him tall. I'm 5'7.5", in shape. Older would be nice, but I don't tend to get older. I always get younger. David, my last boyfriend, was 8 years younger than me. Somebody who has decent money. My issue has been I've dated down. I financially have taken care of the men and I got physically ill from it. I got Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disease, and blew my adrenals out. So I learned now I need a partner in crime who, you know, pulls his own friggin' weight. You don't have to be a gazillionaire, but you've got to be decent. Like you know, by the time you turn 50, you should have established yourself, homeowner and all that. And I'm open to anywhere in the world, really. I'm not saying that I'm going to stay in LA. If I met the right guy, I can do anything anywhere. I don't really shoot my movies. My movies get shot in Canada. I'm not on set unless I'm doing a cameo. We just shot our 3rd movie for Hallmark. It wrapped on Sunday. I wasn't there. So I'm open. I'm really open. But I'm looking for somebody who wants to get married and really fall in love. Like, I'm not playing games anymore. I don't care. I'm not into like dating and 6 nights a week and eating dinner out. That's not who I am. I'm kind of a homebody. I love to cook, love music, concerts, movies, TV. If you gotta love TV. If you don't love TV and you never watch TV, don't call me. Okay, like many of these guys are like outdoor guys and they've never seen like a Sony television set in their life. So not for me. And I love to cook with my meat, so that's fun. And travel. So, you know, somebody who's normal. And you can have kids, you can be divorced. I think divorce is the best kept secret. I prefer older children, like driving in and up. Young is a little bit too young for me. And, you know, boy next door. I grew up in Short Hills, New Jersey. They were all like, look like Brad Pitt there. So, you know, that's basically what it is.
And another thing I have to say is it's interesting because you actually, being with a stronger man brings out your beta, Patti. And so I don't think people know that side to you. You actually have a very nurturing, kind, sweet, flirtatious side to you. that I think with the right guy, you want that side to come out. So that's why that's important.
I basically am sweet and kind and loving at home. Don't yell, don't scream, won't tolerate it. And on top of it, I'm very like girl next door internally when I'm home. It's a work, I'm totally alpha because I don't have a choice. I own my own company. I am my own executive producer. I'm trying to make business deals all day long, but I'm nothing like you see on camera, like nothing. If you watch the Dates with David, I'm more like that, where the men has always led in my relationship. The problem is it's been financial issues where they can't really lead, and I would have to pay for it. And then at the end of the day, I didn't want to sleep with them because it's like sleeping with your couch potato son, you know, like they're not pulling their weight. I need to be able to relax and not, you know, kill it all the time.
So 3 questions. 1, will you date other ethnicities or Caucasian only?
You know, I've dated Latin, do like Latin. I've never dated African American, but I am talking to someone right now who's half Indian. So I'm open. It depends, you know? But I want to preface, I want a good guy. Like you can be a reformed bad boy, but you really got to be good. And like, I'll give you an example. 2 of my friends, you know, Dina Manzo from Housewives, found the greatest guy, Dave Canton. He worships her. And then Marisol Patton, my other friend in Miami, the guy just fell in her lap, and she's now been exclusive with him since November. And I've talked to him on the phone, and he adores her. Like, I've never been doted on. I'm always the doter. I'd love to be doted on. What's it feel like to be doted on? Someone makes reservations for the restaurant. Someone makes reservations for travel. I've always had to do that. You know, there were slackers in that department.
So I think people have a lot of questions. So one thought is maybe folks, if they think that they have someone for you, what's the best way for them to contact you? And then you could send, I know that you had sent me at one point your kind of cheat sheet of what you're looking for and a bit about you. What's the best way for people to get that information and then submit ideas?
Send it, just DM me at Patti Stanger. We check our DMs every day.
Yeah. And folks are saying that they need your bio. Yeah, she'll go anywhere. It doesn't have to be LA. It could be East Coast. It could go anywhere. Patty's flexible in terms of where she's living.
I love Australia. I could go to Australia.
One other question, which is more of a business question, which is how do you respond to people who say, you know, you're single, how are you a matchmaker? That's like a lot of single matchmakers want to know that question.
Well, first of all, I didn't marry and settle because of financial reasons, because I would have gotten right through the calls in California. And I had 2 engagements, and I have been offered marriage. They were just not appropriate for me. And as you grow and evolve, you know, your tastes change. So I'm a little bit older. I've had serious relationships. I've lived with people. I just didn't get married. Oprah's not married. So is there something wrong with her? The other thing is when you see a coach in the Super Bowl who has gotten their team to victory, like Tom Brady's coach, they generally have never played in football, let alone the Super Bowl. So should they not teach Tom Brady how to win, since he's how many Super Bowl rings does he have? So I don't agree with that. Sometimes us matchmakers spend so much time giving to the community, giving to our clients. We have no time for ourselves, and we're definitely not going to go out after you've been on the phone and a computer all day long. You're wiped out. It is draining what we do. And it is God's work. It is a calling. I don't care that we get paid for it. You have to pay the bills. You got to eat. Kids got to go to school. It's a calling. And if they can't understand that, fuck them. Like, because you don't need to explain why you're single. You know, your number will come up when it's supposed to come up.
I think that those are the main questions. So I think we've covered a lot. Oh, someone was asking, do you want to be married? That's what you said, that you would like to get married, right? At this point.
Right. I'd love that experience. You know, I definitely feel like it's time and I'm ready, and my house is clear. Like, I'm not a workaholic like I used to be. And that was pre-pandemic. I was feeling that the year before the pandemic. I kind of slowed down. I took a break. You know, when I left Bravo, I went to We because of contract negotiations. I was not fired. I left them. There's a long story. They wanted my trademark, and it was the Millionaire Matchmaker, and I wasn't giving it to them. But we're on good terms. I still make money with them. But when I went to We, which was, I love the president, it was the wrong network for me. And I learned a valuable lesson. So I took a break after that. And I said, I'm going to do something that I've never done before. And my agent said, what? And I said, I'm going to get into scripted. And he told me I'm crazy. And I said, you know what? I'm not crazy. I can do this. And he didn't get paid on this. I went to Hallmark Direct and pitched them an idea and they bought it. So after that, I said, I want to have passive income where like movies go up and television shows go up, but I don't have to be involved in it all the time. And so now I just formed a partnership with Evan Tyler, who is the creator of Van Helsing, and Rachel Van Dyken, a New York Times bestselling author. She has millions of books, and we just gave her 2 series. One is called The Dark Ones. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. And The London Fairy Tales, which is like Bridgerton. And we're selling those to Netflix. And I said, if I keep doing this, I can slow down and give a lot of more time to my personal life because, you know, they're the ones that handle everything. It's me just brokering the deal. And I don't have to be on camera, you know?
So 2 comments. One, Tony from Denver is saying, oh my God, Patti's wedding would be an amazing television event. So FYI. So whoever sets Patti up with her husband will be the best man or best woman, just FYI. Patti is awesome that way. She's a huge promoter of anyone that helps her out. So that I know about her. Trenia says she has a fantastic idea for a reality show. Trenia, send that to Patti. Let her know what your idea is. And she could partner. If it's a great idea, she'll partner with you and produce it. So that would be great. So we covered a lot, Patti. We got it all in. Good job. We're going to fix you up. We're going to collaborate with you. And we're going to send you show ideas. What else?
If there's any questions and, you DM me, tell me. I don't really want you to send me your dating questions though. Okay. Like every time I do a business thing, it's like they send me the novels to the floor. I can refer you a date coach, but like, don't give me your dating questions. Give me your business questions or reality TV questions, or if you want to fix me up. Okay. Let's stay on those streets,
I think that it'll be interesting because you got to be smart. So Patti, as available as she is, I think utilize your reach to her in a succinct, successful way. If you have an idea, pitch it properly. And if you want her bio and you want to pitch some guys to her, make sure that show her your matchmaking skills. Pick a really good match for her. And don't just pitch random folks. So just keep that in mind. It's always an opportunity.
And like the thing is, the lead generation is there. You were thinking these leads that you did not sell are dead. They are not dead unless they're married, right? We talk about that, Lisa, all the time. Julie knows that from Great Expectations. If they're breathing and they're alive and they're not dating anyone, they're available to be a lead to close. So we did this last week. Erica took out all the old leads, started calling them. She's figuring out who's only going to spend 10 grand, who's going to spend 20 grand. And she's deciding who gets what. We spent all last week doing inventory because those little deals add up at the end of the year. I was shocked. I told Lisa I was going to have the worst year of my life last year. And then the accountant comes back and says, Patti, you owe a lot of taxes. I'm like, what? He's like, you did a lot of money in your business last year. I was in shock. And it was because we got a lot of 100-granders. You know what I mean? And those are rare. Lisa knows they're rare. I know they're rare. When they come in, they are the easiest people to fix up. I don't understand why the more money they spend, they're easier. I can't figure this out. I've never understood it. We got a very famous person hooked up with one of my friends. 3rd girl he met, and it's done. So we are the experts of the high VIP client. If you feel I don't have this database, we're the largest database probably in the whole matchmaking industry. But if you don't have the database for this, don't take them on. I'm going to give you commission right off the bat. I'm going to get them on a date in 48 hours. It's like, you shouldn't be taking on people that you can't service just because it's big money and it's going to take up your whole year of money. One client could pay all the bills for a year, but are you going to get sued at the end of that year? Because they have the money to sue you. Okay. The other thing is lead generation. If you have ideas on lead generation and you're getting leads left and right from here, like I'll give you an example. I'm on Clubhouse right now. which maybe Lisa, we talk a little bit about Clubhouse, okay? Because you've been on my platform a couple of times. So we're talking about doing a Millionaire Matchmaker Clubhouse right now. But I went on 4 times. I'm at 15,000 people right now. That's a lot for Clubhouse, by the way. And it's still an invitation only. It's in beta testing. Hasn't gone full service. And you have to get an invite to get on, but it is the coolest, richest people, but they're tech kids. So even though they have gazillions of dollars, they're not going to spend 100 grand on a deal. We have to figure out a product for them, 25 grand, whatever it is, 6 months, 3 months, whatever, where they go, okay, this is something I'll spend. So today I got one today for Erica, and it's $10,000 he's going to spend. I said, what's your budget? I said, would you spend 20 grand? He goes, no. I go, would you spend 10 grand? He goes, yes. That was DM to me. And I'm saying it to Erica because I don't do that. And it's like those little leads add up at the end of the year. And you're like, whoa. Now the secret sauce is less people and bigger money, right? Because then you don't have a lot of time to waste on them. And that's really the goal. But how do we do this? Do we go on the internet and do pay-per-click like a lot of people are doing? And putting up landing pages and whatnot, and a whole change your SEO, which is going to change in May with Google anyway. At least it should have a whole thing on SEO. Talk about SEO down the road because it's going to change Google. Or do we refer through each other, which I think is a better system, the way Lisa's setting up this lead generation on the CRM, because we know each other. We can tell you what's wrong with that person. When Buffy called me, she's like, this is wrong with him. She had gorgeous women she sent him, and he was one of these weirdos that liked average, nothing, ugly women. And the better looking she sent, the more he said no. And then I figured out with her, I said, send him an ugly one. And then he picked her. So it was like, every person is different, and we have to start communicating with each other and not thinking each other as competition. We should be a matchmaker family that helps each other, if nothing else.
And I think that that's exactly right. I think folks were asking, it's the Professional Love Connectors group that Patty's recommending. Also get on the CRM. Cross referral is always the way to go because you're not diluting your own brand. You're actually able to stay focused on your brand and make money by referring out. So across the board, that's a really great idea.
Talk about international. So when you get an international client, like we are open in England and Australia, but when we get an international client, we may not have as much in the database over there, even though they're huge fans of mine. So if you get someone like in France or Italy, and you know there's no match, you don't know the matchmaker, you need to call Lisa because you could be making money instead of taking on the client and at risk, even though it's international, for not servicing them. I'd rather take the commission and give it to the professional in that market. You know, you're going to lose a lot of money if you do it the other way because you got to hire recruiters, you got to find girls on the ground in a pandemic. That's not easy. So I would be like, somebody comes in from South Africa, somebody comes in from Spain. I'm going to find that person in that market, talk to them and have a Zoom and then send it over to them and get the commission. Referral, Julie is the expert of referral commission. She should be talking about this right now. She started that whole thing after her website, and that's where I started to get the idea from her, actually. Julie, you should be talking about that because you're really
well. We did a lot of work together through the years, Patti, because you weren't taking female clients and you would send them to me, and some of them were absolutely awesome. Some of them were challenging, but in the process, I got to learn what my strength is and what my strength isn't. I'm kind of a coward. I don't like to charge more than $10,000 because in the state of California, anything that is contested that's less than $10,000, it gets handled in small claims court. I would win every single time. Louie does something different where he'll offer 50% back after a couple of months if the client's not happy. And that gives him comfort level to take a $50,000 client. Each person on this call gets to decide what their comfort level is. I will tell you, since I relaunched in 2013, I have not cried over a client, not once. And part of the reason is because I knew that there was no way that I was ever going to hear from anybody's attorney ever again. And that's why I sleep well at night. So yes, referring to other people and working out that commission that you share is the way to go. it aggravates me when somebody takes on a client in Los Angeles. They don't have any people in Los Angeles.
Right.
And then they call me and they want me to do all the work for them. And actually $250 is not enough. It's not enough money for the amount of work and the amount of risk that I take. So I'm the one who started that $250. I think it should be 500, but I'll be quiet about that now.
We are big on 20% commission. We give big commission. And Lisa and I started that a long time ago because, you know, unless it's really low money, like, you know, it's like 15 and under, we'll do 10. But if it's big money and you're giving me a 50, 60 grand deal, I'm going to give you big commission. I still give my staff the commission. I might make less money in the scheme of things, but it's a lead that I didn't have to pay for. So it works for me all the way around. And I believe in giving big commission. I want you to go get me another lead. I want you to get addicted to it. And so if you're giving people shitty money like $250 and expecting Julie to do your work, you know, nama fucking stay, hit the street. Because I'm sorry, that's not, this job is time consuming. In the earlier days when I get my high-end clients like Sumner Redstone, or I had, and I can talk about him because he's in the news. It's not somebody I'm violating the contract on. And people like that, I have to leave the Laker game in the middle of the date with my fiance, and he would scream at me. And I'm like, I'm on call 24/7. I'm a doctor. If there's an emergency, I have to go take the call. This is what's paying for us to go to Europe next summer. You know, like this is big money that I can't just say, hey, I'll call you on Monday because when I'm in the office. One of the reasons Destin and Rachel don't work for me anymore, besides some other stuff that went behind the scenes in television, is because they refuse to pick up the phone after hours and on weekends. If you're not doing that, you're an idiot. This is a business that you need to get them addicted to you personally, love you to death, and would never sue you in a million years because you're family. And if they were
I'd like to jump in here for just 1 second. That's one way to run it. I am unwilling to pick up my phone on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I don't care how much money this person just paid me. I set my parameters. My phone time is my gold. It's everything to me. And you got to get on my schedule, and people know it. And I may be missing all kinds of deals because of that. That's okay. I've been doing this for 30 years. I get to control when I pick up my phone, and my client does not. I got a client right now who's all over me, wants me to stop everything and pick up and babysit his little emotional drama. Sorry, dude. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll be talking with you. I hold my boundaries. I hold my space. I sleep well at night. Namaste.
When you're starting out, I don't know if that would work when you're starting out.
I know, and I almost got divorced. My poor husband, my poor children. You don't have to do it that way. You can control your phone time.
He's on the golf course, please. You know, $100,000 clients, if you take this kind of money, is not going to say, call me tomorrow, wait till Monday. So you have to understand the animal, the beast that you're with. And if you're with a woman, she's going to sue you. You have to be very careful of them, very careful. So yes, there are difficult ones that call you every 15 minutes and you say, I have to get back to work. We have a thing called dispatch. I should talk about dispatch. This is a good little thing. So I'm like a taxi company. Okay. So once the person is dispatched to the client and they have to get on the phone and make the phone call, I make them only talk to the matchmaker who dispatches. I will not have a conversation with them until they got on a date. Now, if they need me to give a pep talk and say, wear this, do that, blah, 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 I'll do that. I have one of the clients right now, my gay client. Every time he goes on a date, he has to give me a 20-hour dissertation. But I'm getting him better. it's less and less time he's calling me. So he's getting better and better. But what happens is dispatch is releasing the information. If we're concierging, I can never say that word, concierging the date, which we do in certain occasions, they're concierge, and I won't talk to them until they've actually gone on the date and I've seen exactly what went wrong or right. And generally speaking, if it goes right, you will not hear from the client. This is the weirdest part of our business. They disappear. You're like, oh, well, I haven't ever. And sometimes Erica will send girls out, and Lisa and my other matchmaker and Danielle, and the girls will go out and then we don't hear anything. And we're like, I guess he's dating someone. And then 6 months later, he might manifest. He goes, I'm really sorry. I didn't call you back. I was dating someone. I'm dating your girl. I'm dating someone else's girl, you know, because they meet people. One other thing that you have to remember is energy. Let's talk about the metaphysical side of this. energy travels. So if they feel content with signing that contract and that they've outsourced the business to you for love, just like they do a lawyer or they do a doctor, then they can get on a plane and meet someone. And I've had that happen quite a bit. They're like, I don't know what happened. I haven't had a date in 10 years. I signed the contract. I had to go on a business trip to Chicago and there was my wife. And they want their money back. I'm like, I'm sorry. I magically did something to you where your energy relaxed, because I probably had a conversation or talked to him and your energy relaxed and then you're ready to receive and the universe gives. And I believe in the universe giving. So they tend to use my date coaching or my relationship counseling as a platform to spring to find that person, and they weren't even looking for it. It fell in their lap because they're open to receive. And had I never had that conversation or they never signed the contract, that would have never happened. And it happens quite a bit. So don't be surprised if someone signs and meets someone. Then you have a whole bunch of issues, because what's your rescission in that marketplace? Is it a week? Is it 2 months? Whatever it is, you have to read the fine print of the laws of your state or country, for that matter. Yeah.
And so do you have the risk of being sued for not taking on female clients, or how do you handle that?
No, we are a partnership with Sync. So I created a partnership with, Erica runs my company, but she has her own company called Sync. So they merged. That's how it works. So they go to Sync. We have divisions. Like I handle gay men. She would handle a gay woman. So we have divisions. And we're not getting sued because of that, because technically I'm not a specialist in that. I can refer them to Lisa. Last week I referred a couple to them to Lisa. Erica doesn't take on every client. She's very critical on who she takes on, because if she can't fix them up, she's not taking them, and they go to Lisa. We have another matchmaker in LA called Melody. We have Lisa in Chicago. We have a system. I'm not going to let them fall away, but like, you know, a lot of them brag. Biggest problem we have with women, which Lisa and I have a lot, is that they'll come in, they brag about their money. I've had more A-listers call me with 2 private planes, 7 homes, and they go, I'm such a great catch. Can't you put me in your system and fix me up? And we're like, yeah, we have 1 million women in our system. Okay. And they're not 50 with 2 kids. And just because you got a private plane, you should be able to pay me for my time. So they think it's free. So they come in to Lisa and I, and then they think it's free. It's a joke. It's a real joke, because I'm like, no, it's not free. It's just like everything else. You have to pay for our service. So you're going to get a lot of those.
Okay, I think we are running out of time, because we were supposed to do a networking event. I know there's a handful of other questions for Patti, but I think you guys can sort of reach out and sort of let her know if you're interested in the show, if you're interested in matching her up, staying in touch, submitting yourself for potential show ideas. And then in terms of collaboration, again, you know, Patti is on our Matchmaking Pro CRM system. She's been using our system for many, many years. She has her entire database on that system, and she will be utilizing it for cross-referring. Patti has also taught some of our certification courses, teaching people. So I would say staying in touch and connecting through the professional Facebook group, Professional Love Connectors, getting on the CRM, getting certified, etc. But then also contacting Patti directly if you have any ideas or anything that you would like to share with her. Thank you so much, Patti. I know everyone always asks your time and energy, and it's a lot. And I know that you really wanted to share with the community, and I'm so grateful for that. And I really appreciate you sharing your time and energy with all of us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I wish you best of love and luck in this pandemic. We're almost through it. And don't give up if you're discouraged and you're not succeeding. Just, you got to keep moving. You got to be like a shark. Just keep moving. Eventually, you're going to hit something. First couple months I did this, I didn't think I was going to sell anyone. So just learn. Be really careful with your clients. Focus on really finding them love and giving your all. And the money will come. The money will come. If you're good, your town, your city, your state's going to find out that you're a good matchmaker. Just stay in touch with the Matchmakers Institute and get certified if you haven't gotten certified. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Patti.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye, Patti. Talk to you soon. Okay, awesome. So that was our day 2 whirlwind of the conference. Hopefully what everyone learned today is we all should get on the Professional Love Connectors group to continue communicating. I mean, everyone's on that. We have 750 people on there. Whoever's not on there, apply to get on there. That's the way to stay in contact. And then whoever is not on the CRM, get on the CRM. It's free. You know, stay connected, stay referring each other folks, you know, those are the different ways. And I think that, like, you know, continuing these conferences, continuing the calls, the Alliance has, when are your calls, Maria and Michelle? It's the first Monday of every month. Is that when it is?
The first Tuesday.
The second Monday of every month. Wait.
No.
The first Tuesday of every month, and then our.
Wait, tell
okay.
us.
And then. Wait, whoever's breaking up. Yeah? And then our professional, our Global Love Mastermind is the second Wednesday of every month. And then our next conference will be in September. So it'll be another huge international conference such as this one. And then we are going to send a follow-up email with all the information, all the slides, the recording, a survey, so you can let us know what speakers you liked, who made sense to you, who you want to hear more from next time, all the products that we're offering. Louie and Maria's product is, we have dates for that we forgot to mention, so we'll send that information out as well. Please give us your input. We're always open to hearing more. Again, we're really, really hoping that those of you who have been certified in the past get recertified. Those of you who aren't, please get certified. If you have over 5 years of experience, you can be grandfathered in for only $495, where you're going to be certified for 3 years. It's really, really crucial that we continue to organize all of you guys for collaboration, and that's the way that we're trying to do it. If you guys have other suggestions, other input, please let us know. We're always in contact with Maria and the gals from the Alliance to brainstorm collaborative structures and rules. We'll continue to do that. We'll continue to share. So thank you so much, guys. It's been a really fun couple days, and it just makes me feel so nostalgic of our time together and hanging out and connecting. And I really, really am so happy to see all of you here, and please stay connected. And we will all be in touch with follow-up within the next 24 hours. All right? All right, guys.
Thank you. So much value.
Thank you.
Guys.
Could you post in the chat the Love Connector?
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Professional Love Connectors group.
Thanks very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.